Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Pod Fruit, One Piece Through New Eyes. On today's episode, we will be discussing Volume 25, titled The 100 Million Man. Volume 25 covers chapters 227 through 236. I am the host, Michael, and with me, as always, we have our One Piece rookies, V and Dylan.
Hello, hello.
Quick reminder, join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord for all our latest announcements, information, and fun. On Twitter, we are at PodPodFruit, Instagram, it's PodPodFruit, and our Discord is linked in the description. We would also love it if you gave us a follow and a review. Let us know what you like or what you don't. We love feedback. We are splitting things up into two parts here. We're going to do the first 5 chapters in the first part, and then the last 5 chapters in the second part.
And we're doing that both for your benefit of not having to listen to a 4-hour episode every time, and for our benefit for our energy levels.
7 hours. That's real.
For real. Like it's no joke.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Once upon a time, we were recording an episode and producing it or publishing it the following Thursday, and
this is an adjustment. We're trying for our benefit, Michael's benefit, just the output's benefit, and just I feel like the more we're going, the more we're realizing that we have a lot to say about these chapters.
It seems like it grows.
It seems like it does not stop. It's exponential at this point.
Is there going to be a point where we have a 24-hour?
Can you fucking imagine? So, but I will say, if you guys have any feedback or comments about the structure, we're still putting out at least hour and a half to almost 2 hours episode, even if they're split in half. But if you guys do have comments, please let us know. But for now, we are trying that split in half format.
Yeah. So with that, let's begin. My summary of Volume 25. The Straw Hats are offered assistance to reach the legendary Islands in the Sky by Cricket, Masira, and Shoju, known as the Surayama Alliance. A plan is hatched requiring the Straw Hats to venture into the jungle to find a Southbird whose sense of direction will guide them to a knock-up stream in hopes of propelling their ship to the clouds. While they're away, Bellamy and his crew arrive at Cricket's house, beat him up, and steal his gold. The Straw Hats return to the aftermath of this, and Luffy is especially angered, vowing to find Bellamy and return Cricket's gold. Luffy accomplishes his task easily, and the group begins outfitting the ship for air travel. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Portgas D. Ace meets up with Buggy and his crew. A meeting is called by the Navy and world government to address the vacancy in the warlord system when a mysterious interloper crashes their meeting, and an emissary sent by Shanks to Whitebeard is rejected as they hope to discuss some matter involving Blackbeard and Ace. Back in Jaya, the Straw Hats and the Sarayuma Alliance have finished preparing the ship to sail to the clouds. They're on a tight schedule as they set off. Unbeknownst to them, the Blackbeard pirates have learned of the Straw Hats' bounties and are hunting them. The Straw Hats narrowly escape as the knock-up stream propels them into the sky. And that is our summary of Volume 25. We're doing things a little differently this episode. We're going to start with V on each chapter, followed by Dylan, and then I will wrap each chapter up with my final thoughts. But V, go ahead.
Sure. And again, if the listeners have any sort of feedback for us, feel free to let us know.
We love feedback.
Michael literally says it. We love feedback at the beginning of every episode, and we truly do. But yeah, so we're experimenting. We're wanting to see what works best for us, as the hosts of this podcast, but we also want to know what you guys like in terms of your preferences as listeners. So as always, feel free to share your thoughts. But yes, that's what we're going to be trying this time around. So 227, Nolan the Liar. The intro image story, I have to say, it seems to me as though the Catfish built Hachi a whole takoyaki ship. He has a full-blown business going on right now, and I gotta say, I'm proud of my little industrious, little creepy entrepreneur man. Go.
Had to throw creepy in there.
He's still a little creepy. I love that. I love that for him. I think that's he's thriving. He's in his lane. He's moisturized. You know what I mean? Like, he is living his best life, and I'm so proud of him.
I just want to call out the catfish. They look like some fucking homies.
They do.
They are people you want on your side always. These motherfuckers clearly get shit done.
They do, with their little mallets. Please
Yeah.
please come help me build my IKEA furniture. So page 2, they are trying so hard to repair the ship, but it really is looking hella rough. Especially you can see it like the bottom of the page as Luffy is just trying his best to beat with his mallet on some broken wood. I do understand Usopp wanting to give up on it. It has sentimental value. It was given to him by Kaya back in Syrup Village. Like, I get that it's important to him, but also yikes. Maybe sometimes you just need to let things go. So the Straw Hats are approaching Mont Blanc Cricket's house, and while at first glance it looks impressive, if not a little gaudy, let's be honest, we do find out that it's an illusion. The bottom left panel of page 4 with Chopper. What the heck is going on with his eyeballs? Like, is he pulling the skin away from his eyeballs?
You never done this before?
No, but not to the point where I see my fucking skull.
You're doing it right now. Yeah.
It's so creepy. Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Stop. You're flipping your eyelid, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Thank you, Dylan.
It's just like,
thanks for sharing. Like
out.
an elementary school talent show.
Chopper is he's the epitome of cute. And so to see him doing something creepy where like his hooves are in his, like,
I think it's
inside
cute.
his eyes just freaks me out. I don't like it. Yeah, so as soon as Robin mentions gold, Nami puts Chopper to work immediately to dig for it without giving it a single thought in the middle of page 6. I cannot say I'm surprised. It's very typical of her. She's like, come on, dig, Chopper, find the gold. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
Huh? I should dig? I'm digging.
Oh, I freaking love Chopper. He's so me.
Honestly.
I know. He's such a people pleaser to the point where it's low-key detrimental to himself. And I'm like, I can relate. I get it. I'm right there with you, bud.
There's no one-for-one comparison that makes as much sense to me.
Oh, I'm both flattered and insulted. Anyway, top of page 7, Usopp saying, that's a catch title. Yeah, that's a catchy title. I like the theme. Had me chuckling. Like, it's a little bit of self-awareness, you know, because he's Nolan the liar, and, you know, Usopp being Usopp. It's like, well, you know, takes one to know one. Maybe. But I will say, just in terms of general thoughts, this volume as a whole has given me a different appreciation for Usopp, and I will get into it more. Usopp is definitely a character that has started to grow on me, and this chapter is a good... It's not, I wouldn't say it's a like one of those light bulb or super important moments for Usopp yet, but I'm like, okay, I see where he's coming from. I can relate to this character more than I thought I could. But that is sort of like the beginnings, the rumblings of that.
It took me a while, too.
Yeah, but I'm starting to get it, is what I'm saying. So yeah, we also learn at page 7 that Sanji was born in the North Blue. We got a little bit of character lore drop. And it does lead me to wondering, you know, how much time are we going to spend there, if any? Because we've been in the East Blue, now we're in the Grand Line. And it's like, okay, well, you know, there's the East Blue, but is there the West, the North, and the South Blue?
There is.
What's going on?
They exist.
Yeah. So, interesting to have a little bit of that character insight for Sanji. And then, yeah, so the next few pages tell us the story of Nolan the liar. And I won't go into super deep detail about this, but I do have a few general notes. I very much enjoy the different art style and the font to show that they're actually reading a book. It's giving storybook, it's giving fairy tale. And I quite enjoy that in terms of just how to distinguish, like how to read a book within a book. I thought that was pretty neat the way that Oda went about that. But it sold it. It told me that we were actually reading this fairy tale or this book. And I definitely noted that Nolan is actually Mont Blanc Nolan, like Mont Blanc Cricket. So we do get confirmation later on that he is his descendant. So that, again, is a little bit of lore drop. And now hopping forward after the story, the interaction between Bellamy and Sarkis, I'm going to say Sarkis. I don't know if it's Sarkis, but I'm going to say Sarkis over pages 11 and 12. Shows us how the story overlaps with real life. And I got to say, I did like that little bit of exposition. Like, I'm usually not a big fan of those, like, obvious explanation moments. I usually point them out in a not derogatory way, but in a, like, okay, is it really necessary kind of way? But in this case, it felt justified and it felt as though it was natural. And I appreciated that opportunity to link what we had just seen with the story to what is happening in the real world. Nami calling the shit out of Usopp mid-page 13 had me cackling when she's like, sadly, the liar died without ever becoming a brave warrior of the sea. And then Usopp is like, why are you looking at me when you say that?
She was definitely
she was
throwing a little
she
shit.
Was digging at him.
That was kind of mean.
It was, but also sometimes
we'll get into that.
You sort of need to do that for the people you love. Sometimes you need to be like, listen, bud, I love you with all my heart, but this shit needs to stop. You know, and like, I'm a nice person, but I will call out people when I need to, and that's probably the way I would go. Maybe, you know what? Maybe actually I would be more direct than she is, because she's still a little bit like...
You'd be a little kinder, though. You'd be like, hey.
I would be kinder. I would be more direct, but I would be kinder. I wouldn't be as passive-aggressive, because this is giving passive-aggressive to me.
I think you'd be very constructive.
I like to think so. But I was still like, I feel like it's one of the first moments that within the story we are actually acknowledging that side of Usopp, that personality trait, or that actually character flaw. I would call it a character flaw, which isn't a bad thing, because I feel like every good character needs a character flaw. And I like that we're addressing Usopp's now, because it's always been, everyone knows, ever since we were introduced to Usopp, we know that he's a liar, that he inflates reality and whatever. And I'm like, okay, we're actually paying attention to this now. And I feel like that can be beneficial in possibly character development for the future for Usopp. So I like that. I like that we're kind of putting a spotlight on, hey, everyone knows that he's a liar. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so I guess that the guy that I thought was Mont Blanc Cricket back in Mocktown was not the guy. We find out later on that it's not the guy. There was just a little bit of confusion in terms of who was who and what was going on.
If I remember correctly, yeah, you thought who we find out to be Blackbeard.
What? Yeah, exactly. Because he was talking about the dreams thing, and I was thinking, well, we're talking about dreams, and that guy was talking about dreams, so it must be the same guy, but it's not. But there was a moment of confusion where I was like, wait, who is that guy? So that is, so I guess for my information, Michael, should he be referred to as Cricket, or like what is the general consensus on his name?
Oh, Cricket's fine, but I will say, in my notes, I didn't pick this up until later, I repeatedly referred to him as Noland. And in fact, if I'm like going through my notes and just speaking off, what I'm seeing, I may in fact refer to him as Noland in this episode, which is incorrect. And we'll go ahead and put that out there. But yeah, Cricket.
So I was confused as to his identity also. And I have named him Chestnut Guy. So anytime I talk about Chestnut Guy, that's the guy. Yeah, so I will say the tattoo on his bicep that you see at page 14, it says maroon. In French, a chestnut is marron. So this love has taken its toll.
I actually really enjoy Maroon 5.
There are a few Maroon song is
that a guilty pleasure?
I would say it is a guilty pleasure. But anyway. Yeah, so at first I was like, so we're first introduced to Cricket, Chestnut Guy, whatever. And I was like, oh, looks like we have another Kickmaster on our hands. Sanji's got some competition. And then he pulls out a fucking gun?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, wait a minute. like we haven't seen firearms that often. What? Because we're still mostly on me. It just, let's make sure we sync it up.
Hello. Okay. All right, I'm getting picked up now. All right.
Okay, perfect.
I said a bunch of funny stuff, listeners. I mean, whatever.
He'll say more.
Yeah, we lost Dylan there for a second.
He'll say more funny stuff in the future.
I talked about Star Wars for like an hour and a half.
No, it's only 20 minutes out of possibly 3 hours of recording. We're good.
You're being a little generous with that estimate.
With the final cut.
I'm just saying. I said 3 hours of recording.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'm good. Sorry about that.
No worries. So as I was saying, okay, this guy's, he kicks around, blah, blah, blah. Sanji's got some competition, and then he pulls out a fucking gun. And I guess my surprise is I feel like we haven't seen that many firearms so far.
It's only ever been like you see him in like big battles where it's like, oh, some no name is using a gun. But like when you're dealing with actual interactions between like the people with names, you don't really see guns that often.
Because we got swords, we got punches, we got devil fruit powers, but firearms?
We do have cannons. Usopp shot a cannon.
Yeah. And then we got the weird dog gun.
Yeah. Dylan said it before. Usopp, hang up the sling.
Hey, you saw that gun that one guy had? You need to be using that.
Yeah, and we do get more of that sniper later on. So we do see firearms, but I feel like they're not super prevalent. So I was like a little, I wouldn't say taken aback, but I was like, oh shit, I thought this was a kick fight. No, actually, this guy's packing fire.
You brought your legs to a gunfight.
Exactly.
I'd say Don Krieg was the only example of a character that
That's
more
true.
used technology.
But I feel like he didn't yield a gun. He was cannons, but
he was the gun.
He was the gun. Yeah, so then Luffy's explanation at the top of page 18 as to how he wound up in the water. Yeah, I saw bubbles in the water. Then a chestnut came out of the water, but the chestnut turned out to be a guy, and he pulled me into the water. I feel like it made me really... I don't know why it made me laugh, because it's so Luffy.
Bubbles?
Chestnut, don't mind if I do.
Thank you, water chestnut. Oh, I actually love water chestnut.
Yeah.
Wrapped in bacon? Ooh.
It's like, oh, nope, actually, that was a guy. It just gave me a chuckle. And yeah, so as always, I love seeing Chopper in his element, putting his medical skills to work. Also, just a great opportunity to explain what the bends are, which we actually mentioned in the last episode.
Talked about that last one. I was like,
or the second to last episode, we talked about getting the bends. Exactly. Which, contrary to what Luffy is saying, are very real and can indeed be fatal. I've heard of several cases of like cave divers dying of the bends. It's not, listen, it's no joke. And that is like, I'll dive, like if I have the opportunity to go diving like in the Great Coral Reef or something like that, I'll do it because it's fairly shallow. But
light snorkeling.
Yeah, but I don't know that I would go full diving because I ain't dying for that.
Yeah, nothing more terrifying than the bottom of the sea.
Right?
Yes, but also cave diving.
Cave diving is
terrifying.
Even just caving.
Yeah. Read Ted the Caver and you'll be like, nah, fuck it, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm very familiar with Ted the Caver, but the truth is they're very real stories of similar, like they're like instances of underwater caves where they put up signs saying if you go past that point, you're going to die. Yeah. and it's like, there's a map why are people still doing it? Yeah, just don't do it. Listen. And I'm not someone that's naturally claustrophobic, but that is something listen. I value my life too much to do stuff like that.
It's like the ultimate thrill seek of being the first human to get to a certain, like to be like, oh, I'm the first one who's ever seen this. This is amazing.
Yeah, and I understand that.
Like, congratulations,
well,
bro.
Also,
you were the first one there, but you died.
There's specifically, there's a cave called someone or other's tomb because he was trying to open up a cave he got to, and he got stuck, and then the media heard about it, and a lot of media showed up, and then too much weight on the ground, it was raining, and then he eventually was stuck there for days until he eventually died.
Yeah.
Because it ultimately collapsed.
Yeah.
Although the cave diving memes peak right now. Where it's like anytime you see someone sees your butt crack, and then like it shows like the dude just standing there with a pair of shoes at the end.
Oh yes, I know exactly.
Those are awesome. I love those.
God.
Not just cave diving, but caving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Verbal meme.
But there are underwater caves as well.
I'll dive in your cave.
You get stuck.
That shit toys.
Anyway, so this chapter ends on, at the time a little bit of a cliffhanger as we see the picture of Masira and Shuju with the chestnut guy, Cricket. I'm going to have to adjust my language because he's chestnut guy until...
Call him whatever you want.
Anyway. And I think that's all I had for 227. Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah, and since my recording issue, I'll go ahead and cover the cover page again. I do love that. I was talking about it, like, it's like, man, I would love to actually, like, if there was a thing where it's like, oh, he does become a sea-bound mobile takoyaki stand and just sails around. And then, like, you could have him, like, bump into Red Shoe Zeph, bump into the crew again, just have, like, a lot of fun cooking shit. I'd watch it. Watch the show because Delicious in Dungeon. I bring it up almost every episode. That show is a vibe, and I'm probably actually going to start getting into like watching like cooking animes.
Food Wars.
Oh, Food Wars actually does have a Sanji spinoff. Like I saw that in one of the one of the volumes you were reading at the end. It was like it pop up.
It tries to recommend it to me all the time.
Yeah, and I've seen it, and I've purposely avoided it because I'm like, I don't want to risk any sort of spoilers potentially.
You guys want, I'll read it and clear it for you if that's something you're interested in.
I would be curious just because I've seen it on the Viz website and I've been like, well.
But yeah, like you're saying, it's fun to see see the crew patching the ship up, and the fact that Tony is sitting there as like the gopher, and like you just imagine, like, can you hold the fucking light straight? That's what
Say that again?
Yeah, like you see on the memes where it's like anytime I'm like working with my dad, it's like, can you hold the fucking light straight?
Yeah, I know. Oh no, this is giving me like PTSD.
Where again, this is kind of the moment where it's like Luffy kind of understands his crewmates and like kind of like especially vibes to Usopp when he's like, don't worry, man. He's like, the Merry Go is part of the crew. Like, there's no way we'd ever get rid of it. I was kind of like, bro, you kind of.
They are on the same page.
This ship's kind of dog shit.
But it's not. It means a lot, Dylan. It's Kaya's
How big's this crew gonna get? You ain't got enough space on there.
They have orange trees.
Yeah, although the Queen Elizabeth II did have like 80 men on it, and I walked on that, and it's like, this is really small. It's like, yeah, there's like 100 guys on here. I was like, what?
Maybe it's a case where they're all really short, actually. You know,
just
how people in the past were shorter.
I'm not worried about height space. I'm worried about girth? Arm strength. Yeah, I'm worried about girth.
I'm worried about the fucking stank.
Oh, that too.
Dylan, you're the stankiest one though.
No, Dylan smells good.
X to doubt.
I listen. I spent a week living in the same quarters as you, and I never.
He made sure to smell good.
Once got
That's why I always walked back and forth through the casino a lot of times. So the only thing you could smell is cigarette smoke.
Even when he pooped, it didn't smell.
Oh my god! You heard that here first, Dylan. Your shit don't stink.
I was in the bathroom. I disagree. I was like, my god, what just clawed its way out of my body?
Anyway,
I do kind of like the travel shot of the map on the top of 3.
Always love a good map.
Love a good map.
It gives me like old school RPG things where it's like, oh, you're traveling to a new area, and it kind of just
like this is your destination.
Yeah, it kind of like shows your sprite traveling along the map.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mont Blake Cricket. When they first mentioned Mont Blake Cricket, I was like, oh, okay. And then when it shows the reveal of his house in the top of 4, like in the back of my head, Moscow was playing. Like Moscow.
Moscow?
No, Moscow.
Oh, Moscow.
Like Moscow. Boom, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom. The song goes hard as fuck. I don't understand anything but Moscow because it's German.
Moscow. Yeah, that song.
Which is
Love
really
it.
weird.
Have you seen the music video?
Oh,
of that?
I wish I could dance like that. He busts it down sexual style.
Dude, imagine my knees, my broken knees could not.
Yeah, the first big dip, I'm like Moscow.
Just fall on your ass.
I mean, I can get a deep squat in. I'm not sure how quickly I'm popping back out of it though.
Right?
I'm just gonna stay here.
Oh, I'm stuck. Someone get a car lift and put a stool underneath it. Get me back on my feet. I'm guessing Oda must smoke.
Oh yeah,
because like
cigarettes.
Tobacco.
Oh, cigarettes. Yeah, because weed is
just
super
Sanji.
illegal.
Looking at Sanji.
It's just anytime like there's someone smoking, like because the thing it's like
it looks so good.
He pulled it out of the way where it's like you see the fact that he took it out of his mouth and swung it around and held it out in front of him because you see the whole smoke trail going. It's just like
there's so many smoke.
And you have to sort of put it in context
because in Japan
was released in Japan and just the time also. Like this was released early 2000s at this point. Back in the day, smoking was still a fairly common thing nowadays. It's a lot less.
Yeah, in the
like,
West,
quote
it's a
unquote
little
socially acceptable. Yeah.
But yeah, no, in Japan, it's still like if you're going to an izakaya, expect to come out smelling like cigarettes because there's dudes smoking cigarettes the whole time.
Yeah.
But this is kind of cool. It doesn't say it here, but it does eventually lead to it. Like they're talking about the gold and stuff we found. But we'll get to, and then like you said, it's like, oh, Chopper, find the gold. That was hilarious. I love the fact that he just switched forms and started digging immediately.
Yeah, he's like, okay, big boy time.
When Luffy's like, oh, hello, anyone home? And then Usopp's like, what are you doing? Like, I just imagine, like, in the back of my head, my hand came is like, Luffy, we're in the South. That's a really good way to get shot, just walking into a dude's house. And I like the inside shots of the house, because, like, you see the nautical shit, you see the diving suit, you see the ship's wheel, you see the propeller. I like nautical shit as decoration.
That's how you would decorate your house.
Yeah, it is. Like,
Hell yeah.
I still want to get a, really blown up poster of the Graveyard of the Atlantic that has all the shipwrecks marked on it.
Mm.
But yeah, and then the storybook, the way the storybook thing is done is also really good. And I will, like, when I was talking, Nami's kind of being a bitch, and I'm kind of, like, noticing that a lot. She's kind of just, like, she gets slightly irritated and is willing to blow up and just be mean to someone, which I don't like.
It is a trait that I'm noticing more and more.
Like, I know Nami's bae for a lot of people, but I'm starting to just not like her.
I feel like, you know what? I feel like now that we have another female presence among the Straw Hats, it puts her behavior into perspective. And I'm not ready to speak on whether or not I like it yet, but it makes her behaviors like stand out more now that we have a more like quote unquote calm feminine presence among the Straw Hats in the form of Robin.
Yeah.
I would agree that I don't love it, but may I jump to Nami's defense?
Well, we'll say the reason but I want to say it's like the reason I'm starting to see it more and more is at the bottom of 7 when she's like, Chopper, what are you doing? Be quiet. It's like, you told him to dig. You can't, no. Like, the fact is like, oh, I'm going to tell you to do something. Oh, actually, no, it annoys me. Stop. It's like,
She's still a super valuable crew member.
Oh yeah,
like,
she's the navigator. You need her, but
God, and we see it
bitch.
like in the latter half of this volume, especially as they navigate the upstream. But like it's I get it. Again, I'm not ready to say that I dislike it yet, but I know exactly what you're saying, Dylan.
That's me. Like I think me personally, like people with personality traits like that, I just genuinely do not like them at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just be nice.
So,
you could use to be nice.
I do want to frame some context of where she came from. You know,
oh, my mom died.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Not just that, but she was a relatively high. I mean, she wasn't treated very well, I think, at the end of the day, but she was still somewhat respected. Maybe I'm misremembering, but in Arlong's crew, she was a part of it. They did see her as one of them, for better or for worse, and you know, she has a lot of toughness in her. There is a certain anger that stays and a desire to get shit done in the most direct way possible. Again, she in this volume and a little bit in the last, or a lot of it in the last one, I mean, it was kind of wearing on me because she was kind of going a little one note with it, which we can't, you know, fault her without also faulting Sanji, which we do.
Oh, when Sanji gets it, it's like, okay, deserved, yeah. If you got a guy relentlessly pining after you and you've told him no several times, you gotta be fucking mean. I get that.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we're not calling Nami a bitch because, you know, she's a woman or anything, but because she is actually being...
No, I would never call her a bitch on that.
How dare she voice
She's being
her
a bitch, and Sanji
basis.
is being a fucking simp. Yeah. And I just want to make sure the balance is noted.
No, for sure. No, it's not. It's certainly not about like gender roles. It's certainly not about. I think that's a personality trait that I would find grating, regardless of the gender of the character.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But I don't hate it. I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying I'm picking up what Dylan is putting down in terms of if I were in a group of friends and I had someone like that in the group of friends, maybe I would take him to the side and be like, listen, you kind of need to check your attitude. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you, but these are
I
your
know
friends.
you're under a lot of stress.
Yes,
we're
exactly.
all under stress.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of your problem. Let's fucking keep it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then I love, like you mentioned, the way it's portrayed, like the way the storybook pictures are done. I love that. It's a lot of fun. You see her opening the book. Kind of gives me like Fable vibes. Because a lot of the Fable
I
games,
have never played Fable, but I'm
great.
super. I think I would.
You'd love
I've
the shit out of
heard
it.
great things about it.
1 is good, but kind of dated. 2, little janky. The story isn't as well told, I think, in 2, but the gameplay is a shitload of fun. 3, good story, but the gameplay mechanics got a little fucky.
I'd have to go play them again. All I remember very well is Fable 1 and 2.
So yeah, we get the whole story of and this is kind of like another. Well, it's not even like I was gonna say it's another the boy who cried wolf kind of story, but it's not because he wasn't a prolific liar before this. It's just like, oh, I found gold, and as we find out later, it's like they call it El Dorado, and I was like, that's actually really fucking cool because there were Spanish people who thought they found it, and then when they came back, it wasn't there.
Yeah, like I can see how there's a parallel drawn between Nolan the Liar and Usopp. I think fundamentally it's different in that, Usopp was very much more of like a trickster, whereas Nolan to me is giving, I don't know. It's giving off different vibes.
I like the characterization of Usopp as a trickster versus just a liar. That's actually
since with the way he
much
does
kinder way to...
The way he does his Saw Stars attacks and stuff like that, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's any real malintent in Usopp. I feel like he just likes to weave tales and he likes to take people on a journey. Because to me, a liar is like, I'm trying to deceive you. Whereas I feel like Usopp isn't necessarily trying to deceive. It's like more, I'm trying to convince myself of something as opposed to I'm trying to convince you of something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's a little blurry. I understand that the line is a little bit blurry, but like I don't think that Usopp is a bad guy. I disagree with his lying.
He's like, I want you to like me, so I'm going to ham it up a bit because I think that's how I'll get you to like me. It doesn't work. People usually hate you when you do that shit.
Yeah.
And then we get back to Mocktown, which is weird at 11, the way that, like, because it's all the same scene, but for whatever reason, you decided to split it into 2 different panels.
I don't know the reason.
That's a weird choice to me. Maybe it's to make it look a little more aesthetic, I guess, but to me, it's just give me a full panel. Like, your full panel works. Like, it's nice.
Why is that guy getting his head cut?
Yeah, why is he so chill about it? He just should be dying soon. We see Bellamy and some of his crew again. God, if Bellamy and his whole crew doesn't give the whole aspect of like, yeah, I like catching ants and ripping their legs off of them and then leaving them. Yeah, it's just like weird, like just like I like to watch shit suffer just for the sake of it. Serial killer vibes.
He does kind of have a little Joker in him, I think.
I don't know. I view the Joker as a little more complex. Because I think all Bellamy wants to do is rob people, leave them destitute, and hurt people. Whereas the Joker is more like, no, there's a system and an order that I want gone.
Yeah, okay.
Because there's instances where it's like, oh, the Joker will blow up an orphanage, but then he'll like see a homeless dude with cancer on the street and leave him be perfectly fine. Because it's like, oh no, I don't need to do with you. You're already fucked. Bye. Although I will see, bottom of 11, it kind of caught me off, like they're having their conversation. The guy in the bottom right corner of that bottom panel seems like he's listening in on their conversation.
With the Stetson?
Yeah, hell yeah, brother. But it does seem like he's actively paying attention to their conversation. I'm curious about that. It probably won't turn into anything, but I saw that and I was kind of like, interesting, because you don't really get to see, everyone else you get to see aren't really paying attention, but it does seem like he is purposefully listening in on the conversation the way he's drawn. And then his Nami's kind of just being mean-spirited for being mean-spirited's sake again. Although I guess Usopp might be a little more deserving than anyone else. It's the fact that she went after Tony.
Yeah.
I was like, come on now. I know he's dumb, but he's out here trying his best to be useful.
He just wants respect and he doesn't know how to earn it.
Or hide correctly.
Listen. He's trying.
Try a little harder.
Okay.
And I like it's like during this whole thing, it's just like, they're like, oh wait, shit, Luffy just fell in the water. It's like, I think you would have noticed that before you decided to be purposely hurtful? Or...
Also, Luffy maybe needs to learn to not be near the water, or not that near to the water.
And remember, he also willingly jumped in to dive down in a barrel.
I know.
So we expect him to be self-aware. We're asking for a lot. And then I like the introduction of Montblade Cricket, and the fact that it's like, oh, you finally get a tie-in. You see that he's labeled as last boss, the Monkey Mountain Allied Force. It's like, oh, okay, so he's homie. Leads you down the lines of, it's like, oh, he's homie with Masira and the other one. And then I do really like the, although brief as it is, fight between Sanji and him. That was a lot of fun. I like the way it's drawn. And again, with the smoking, you see,
they're both smoking,
you see the smoke trails.
Yeah.
It's like as Sanji does a kick, you see the smoke is dispersed where his foot is. You see when he's trying to crouch down that the smoke is falling down. You also see with the momentum from Mont Blanc. You see his smoke trail. It's just like, damn. And it's also really impressive that you just came out of the water with like a lit, wet cigarette. I don't know what brand you got, but
that's a very good point.
Probably, if you brand those yourself and start selling them to the Navy, you'll probably make
What's
a
the
lot
brand
of money.
we were talking about last episode? We were talking about Camels last
Camels,
episode.
yeah, we were.
Yeah, if I was a kid in the 80s, I would have picked up smoking when I was 5.
Yeah.
Shit's badass, dude.
My dad would have said, hell yeah, brother.
It's like, yeah, that smoking jacket ain't gonna earn itself. Here's a carton.
Yeah.
If we get lucky, we might be able to get a rally car. Why do you think I had so many damn kids? I gotta save my lungs somehow. And then he pulls the gun. And bang. Again, like it's like, if parry this, you filthy casual. I don't know if that got cut out the first time, but it merits enough for a repeat. And the way it's drawn, it kind of makes you think, like the way it's kind of drawn, it's deceptive because it makes you think Sanji got his head fucking blown off. On that bottom panel on 16, it's like, oh shit.
He's kind of leaning back a little bit.
I mean, he is, but it's like, the thing is, his head's so far back, you don't see it past his shoulders. So it's like, oh shit. I gotta say, this dude knows how to reload a muzzle-loaded pistol really fucking quick. Because Flintlocks shoot only once, but then as you see as Sanji's trying to close the distance, he shoots an additional 2 times. And at that point, Zolo's like, nope, time for me to get involved. And based on that sole panel, this picture of the sole of his shoe, motherfucker's wearing some Timbs. I know that sole.
Timbs.
Yeah, Timberlands.
Yeah, I know. I'm. Listen, I was there for the early 2000s. I know about Tim's. Don't worry about me.
And then it's like he has the bends. It's like, it's a condition divers get sometimes. And I'm like, there's a diving suit right there. If you'd put the diving suit on, you'd have all the time in the world to come up correctly and not get the bends.
True.
Diving suits are for pussies.
Oh, fair enough.
Guys.
Fair enough. Understood. Have a nice day. The rifle over the doorway is cool. I like guns. What can I say?
This is a Dylan house. I definitely get it.
Yeah, he's got some swords and shit too. Let's go. That shit's like a gas station in Myrtle Beach, dude.
As someone who's never been to Myrtle Beach, now
you're literally missing nothing.
Dylan just encapsulated it completely.
Buy a pack of wraps, some chips, a katana, and a gun.
We got all of our food groups covered.
Cold steel, lead, and potato chips. And then I like because I said the thing about like him being associated with Masira and them. I like seeing like a 19 in the middle, like seeing the shot over Nami's shoulder of the picture, and then it zooms in on it.
They look so happy there.
They do. They really do. In this SBS, I love the way that it's like Oda's like, you can tell like he didn't really put some like, there was no real thought in some of the little details and some of the characters, and he just gives bullshit answers to like some of the SBS things. It's like, Oda Sensei, volume 18 on page 28, the sea cat is wearing an earring in its left ear. Why is that? Tell me. And that again is the I think that's a lot of the cultural look towards. I think that's a tip towards. It's like, it's in his left ear. Is he gay? Does it mean that he's gay? I think that might be the reason why. Because you remember, like in the early 90s, you always heard that it's like, if they got a piercing in their left ear, that means they're gay. It's like, no, it's just they got their left ear pierced. It's like, no, it's just ear hair. Shut up. It's like the same thing with the Sanji thing. It's like he's a ladies' man, right? Not a man's man. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Quit putting your hang-ups in my shit. Quit acting if Luffy's penis is stretchy. Stop.
Yeah, how about we just don't? You know what I mean? Like, it's so unnecessary.
But that is all I have on that.
All right. So I also want to align with you guys on the fact that they're really hammering, no pun intended, the damage that the Mary Go is receiving here. On page 3, kind of in the middlemost panel, you see that damage, and we saw it last volume too. This is something that they are showing us here. There's clearly some battle damage, and I like that. I like that, it's being persistent in that fact. I've always enjoyed when things kind of build on itself, even something small like that. So really enjoyed that. Definitely noticed that they keep pointing it out. And then the facade of the house. All I could think was, that's a Disney ass motherfucker. house. It just giving me Disney, and even the fact that it is a facade is also Disney. You know how, at least in the parks and stuff, they will use these giant set pieces to kind of disguise important stuff, that they hide everything. And I liked it. I thought it was funny. And also, it matches Nolan's house in the storybook story.
Yes.
So as much as Cricket wants to, you know, kind of be like, God damn you, Nolan, but also it still speaks to his respect for his ancestor. And yeah, there's something there. I enjoyed the chopper digging bit. Nami definitely was a little out of line here, but I still thought it was funny. Chopper dig. Chopper, you're making too much noise. Then his
Poor
face.
Chopper.
Yeah, I know. He's just a little guy. I really enjoyed the 2 storybook pages. I thought that was a unique display of just something different. It's not a flashback. It is something we haven't really seen thus far, a exploration to a different story. And I liked it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool. And yes, so V, I want to slightly disagree with something you said. You said that you liked how natural Bellamy's talking about how he's from the North Blue and everything felt for you. I felt a little differently. I was like, and we're all from the North, says the guy from the North. And my eyes rolled a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay if you liked it. I'm not taking anything away from what you said, but that's just where my mind went.
No, I understand that. I think my statement still stands without the "and we're all from the North." Like, that's a little bit too on the nose. Aside from that, I still feel like it's a decent bit of exposition, but I get it.
Yeah. On page 13, Nami's shade she's throwing at Usopp, I thought was actually pretty funny, despite the fact that I am having kind of an anti-Nami moment. One of my few anti-Nami moments. Like, this is, you know, kind of who she is, but it's also not. We know Nami, and we know that this isn't like Sanji, or if it is, we're about to completely change the character, because at least Sanji's been consistent.
I'm gonna say something, and I'm the only one that's allowed to say it because I am a woman with a uterus. Maybe she's PMSing.
Maybe,
you know,
maybe, but I was like, she used to take it out on everybody else around you.
I mean, yes, actually, it is.
I'm just saying, I'm a nice person, but I have been a bitch sometimes where it is not warranted.
As a man who lives with a woman, she will come back later, you know, after the fact, and say
Be like, listen,
that wasn't fair
sorry.
to you. And I appreciate that kind of self-awareness, because it is part of life.
The hormones do be playing tricks on you.
They exist, and people want to act like you can't blame anything on that ever, and you shouldn't jump to that, you know?
No, absolutely not. It's not.
I mean, if there's an apology later,
as soon as a woman's upset, oh, she's on her period or she's PMSing. No. But like, as a woman who's like, listen, sometimes I notice a trend in the fact that I'm more irate. I have a shorter fuse. I'll look at my period tracking app and I'll be like, you know what? I'm 5 days before my period. That checks out. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't feel great, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then, you know, that final panel of Cricket and his homies, I loved that, because we've had some really unique interactions with these guys.
And they're so big compared to him.
I know, and it endears me even more to them. I come to actually really love these two.
Me too.
And yeah, so I'll just summarize. I don't believe anything in this chapter really excited me a lot. There was some good stuff, but nothing I'm, you know, pounding on the table for. The comedy was good, the storybook section was unique, and yeah, there was some fun here. But that's really all I got from this. It is setting something more up, but in and of itself, I can't sing too many praises. V, 228?
Sure, let's go for it. I didn't really have anything for the intro image for this.
I will say this is possibly the longest chapter title we've had.
Mont Blanc Cricket, the last boss of the Monkey Mountain Allied Force.
I remember writing it down because I write the title on all my notes, and I was like, this
is long. Yeah, bottom of page 2, they are looking particularly apish there. I think it's just in the facial structure the jaw, just the way that their mouths are drawn. It is, you know how last episode we were talking about like Donkey Kong? This is giving gorilla. They're going gorilla.
If I may, I just want to point out, and I think we maybe touched on this last volume, but when someone asks him what kind of species he is, Masira says, human, fool.
Yeah.
So while they look like monkeys,
yeah, they are human.
They are not monkeys.
Yes. That is very true. But they're, you know, I feel like it's obvious that they were drawn to resemble apes.
Oh, yeah. And that's the bit.
Yeah. That's the bit. And, you know, they relate to Luffy because Monkey D. Luffy. It all makes sense. Oda makes it all work. So, yeah, we get that bottom panel of page 2. And then, to me, it's followed by what I feel, honestly, is a great page at page 3. The top panel shows all of the Straw Hats really well, all having kind of fallen quiet after being interrupted, with a little bit of implied heaviness sitting in the air because they're dealing with someone that's unwell, that's sick, dealing with the bends. And then it's quickly followed by just pure chaos as Usopp and Chopper scream and freak the fuck out at the bottom of page 3. Like, they've come to kill us. Just they're like, oh shit. And I thought that was really funny because, I mean, previously it makes sense. They had seen them as being protagonists or enemies, or, you know, and they're like, holy fuck, what are these guys doing here now? Yeah. And just, I have to say, Chopper's face in that panel at page 2, the top panel of page 2, with the little like bead of just a tiny little bead of sweat on his forehead, and he looks paralyzed with fear. It's so funny to me.
They can't see me if I hold still.
Usopp in the back with his mouth agape, and then they just both freak out. It's so funny.
We've talked about the detail that is in Usopp's face when he's displaying some extreme emotion, but I think Chopper is another side of that.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love Chopper's expression. Every time I see him do something kind of cute and funny and silly and weird.
He's great. I feel like it's something that's maybe a little bit more conducive to that in his character as compared to the others is that he is an animal. Like, he's a cute little furry guy. You know what I mean? And so it opens up different opportunities to display these emotions in different ways, as it is to Usopp or as it is to the different characters that maybe aren't as emotional. But like he's as a character, he lends himself very well to these moments, and I feel like that's certainly an instance in which it shows. At the top of page 4, Usopp says, "They won't listen to reason," and then the panel just below, he says, or someone says, "They listen to reason." And that had me chuckling for sure. Chackling. Top of page 5 also gave me a laugh with some of the others saying, "How come they're getting along so well? They all have monkey brains." It checks out. That's what I was referring to. They're, you know, aren't we all apes? As human beings, we are apes. And maybe we can relate to other apes. And you know, you get these stories of like, what's her name? Jane Goodall, like the woman who did a lot of studies with chimpanzees and whatever. And like, I don't know, like without getting too deep into it, anytime I'm like in a zoo and I see apes, I always feel bad because I'm like, they resemble me so much as a species that I feel like if I see a gorilla in a zoo, I'm like, this is not where you belong.
This is wrong. No, I mean, I feel that way for a lot of animals in a zoo, to be honest, even though they're probably very well taken care of.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But it's like, there's a certain, I don't know, there's something different about apes. And that, like, I look at them and I'm like, we are so alike in many different ways. So anyway. Okay, so skipping ahead a little bit. Page 9 gives us some information about the story and its origins, and while it can come across as inspiring, the bottom of page 10 shows us some interesting insight as to the flip side of having that reputation tied to your name. You know, because he's talking about, because that fool's blood flows in my veins. Total strangers made fun of me throughout my childhood. Do you know what that's like? That's how I grew up. Like it's a little bit like it's diving into that generational trauma aspect of it that I found really interesting. You know, and I'll be honest, stories of bullying always kind of tug at my heartstrings as someone who has experienced bullying quite extensively as a child. So I feel like it's just sad to be ostracized for something that you have reasonably no control over. You have no control over who are your ancestors. You have no control over the color of your skin. You have no control over who you're attracted to, or to some extent your body size. You know what I mean? Like, and it always gets to me when people suffer for things that they have no agency over. And I feel like in this instance, Cricket displays that very well, as he's sort of telling the story of his ancestor and trying to defend himself, trying to defend his family, but also acknowledging the pain that it has brought to him to be part of that lineage.
I think that I think that Cricket is interesting in the fact that he is kind of a torn person, because clearly there is some reverence towards the ancestor, towards the legacy that comes with it, but there's also anger.
Yeah.
And a burden that has been put on his shoulders. Yeah.
For sure. Like, he acknowledges the fact that he's dealing with something that he feels he shouldn't have to deal with in terms of like the legacy. But at the same time, he's not turning around and spitting on it. He's upset at the reaction of people and how this is being treated by other people. And that's totally fair. But he also respects the story and respects the sort of the journey and where he came from and all of that. So it's nuanced. It's very interesting. Yeah, so the story continues over the next few pages, and then we get to page 14. It's another good moment. So I love how... Is it page 14? Yes, it is page 14. I love how Usopp gets emotional over hearing the story. He's like, oh, what a man. And he's wiping tears off of his face. And I am warming up to Usopp for sure. The lying and the overinflating still bothers me, but it seems to me like it's more and more balanced by some really heartwarming moments coming from Usopp. And moments of relatability, and we have more throughout this volume. And it's weird because at first I was hearing about these people that were like Usopp stans, and I was like, what do you mean? Out of literally all of the Straw Hats, Usopp's gonna be your main guy? And now I'm like, you know what? He is the most human of them, as far as I'm concerned. And as a human myself.
Oh, okay.
I relate to him a lot. I'm someone that gets into my emotions. I'm someone who feels like sometimes I have to defend myself. And I wouldn't say that I'm not a liar, but sometimes I get a reflex of wanting to justify my actions. And that's a very Usopp coded thing to do throughout all of the other Straw Hats. I feel like none of the others, or at least not to the same extent, have that same, like, I don't know, like human vulnerability as he has. And I feel like that's something special, and I'm curious to see how it develops. But that was certainly a moment where I was like, you know what? I think I'm getting to like him. And then so as the next few pages unfold, it's like Masira and Shuju are just fanboys? Is what it's boiling down to. It's like they're fanboys of crickets. And that's kind of cute. And you can see at the top of page 16 specifically where Cricket, in my notes I refer to him as Chestnut Guy, is saying, those fools saved me, can you understand? Like, there's some deep appreciation there, and I myself can appreciate that. And then, while Usopp is getting into his feels, Luffy's emotional intelligence of a toddler shows when he's like, I'm bored, when he says he wants to go to the island in the sky at the bottom of page 16. He's like, yeah, I'm tired of monkey stories. Like I said, I want to go to the Sky Island. Like, he was getting so into his feels. He was just, talking about his story and how these guys saved him and blah, blah, blah. And Luffy's like, I want to go. Now, let's go. I want to go to Disney, is the vibes that it's giving. And, Luffy's gonna Luffy. I don't really expect much more. And Luffy has those moments of self-awareness, but it's different.
It is. Compared to everyone else, he does feel a little bit more static, which I don't necessarily hate.
I would say he's very childlike in his emotions.
Yeah. Well, static in the sense that he's always childlike, except for those moments of clarity where reason breaks through. And I mean, you can expect the reason to break through, I guess is what I'm...
They're brief moments, they're significant moments, they're brief and few and far between. I'm not entirely sure why, but for some reason I really like the sequence where Nami reads the logbook over pages 17 and 18. It feels almost tense as she's reading the passage out loud. Everyone is listening to her carefully, and like the goofy faces at the top of page 18 are the icing on the proverbial cake. Like Chopper, Luffy, and Usopp's faces as she's reading the journal. Like, it builds on that tension of, oh my god, what's happening next? What's the next entry gonna say? And you know what it reminds me of? Okay, it's time for our first Lord of the Rings reference. It's giving Mines of Moria. It's giving when Gandalf is reading the book in the Mines of Moria and talking about how, oh, the orcs are coming, we're hearing the drums, blah, blah, blah. Like, the buildup of the tension of something's about to happen. This is what this is giving.
The more we go on about it, the less I feel confident in my remembering of Lord of the Rings.
That's okay. Maybe we do need, like,
I need to watch it about twice, 2 more times at least.
Listen, if you want to watch Lord of the Rings, just let me know when. I'll be there. Dylan and I will be there. We'll watch it. Yes, and so at the end of page 19, I love the resolve when they state their determination to help the Straw Hats. This is selling me, like, we got some new homies. This is selling me the new homie status for sure. I will say, just in the way that it's written, someone could interpret it as we're gonna help them meet their demise. Like, that's why I'm asking, it'll be up to us to help them get there, because it's just, everything is building up to, this is probably a way for them to die. Like, the probabilities of this going well are so minimal, and that could be interpreted as, I'm going to send them to their deaths. But I'm choosing to interpret that as we're going to help them not die.
Yeah, so, that's what I took away from it. It's like, oh, if they try to do it themselves, they'll die, but we're going to make sure that they would die. Happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what I had for 228. Dylan?
These guys, they get it.
They get it. They get it.
Well, they have passed the vibe check.
Yeah. They certainly have, yes.
But yeah, again, I love Ocean Takoyaki Stand. Like, let's go. I will admit, I've actually watched a lot of I don't understand any of it, but sometimes there's subtitles. It's just like people who own street carts in Tokyo, and like it's just a film of like just like a 40-minute video of them taking the cart to the location, setting the car up, selling stuff to the customers, cooking food, and it's like, God, that is so cool. And it's like I can't wait to actually experience it in first person. But anytime like Usopp and Chopper are like stressed out, they go instantly like Looney Tunes mode. Because you got like like Chopper's doing like the Tasmanian Devil runaway, and the way I initially saw it, it's because Usopp's in front of the window, but the way I looked at it the first time, I was like, oh, he's already jumped out the window, is getting ready to run away. That's him running off into the distance, and I love the middle of page 5. I was like, how'd a little guy like you manage to beat this big lug? And then like the next panel, it's like he's kicking him off to the distance. It's like, oh, look at that, you're right.
I love that.
I did love that. That was a lot of fun.
It was easy.
It's like, oh, look at that. And then I love it's like, we want to go to the island in the sky. And then like he starts immediately laughing. And it was, of course, Nami gets pissed off about it because she can't handle being laughed at. And I'd like to see like the execution scene on the bottom of 9. Like immediately took me back to Goldie Roger. I was like, oh, okay. Same. I guess that's just how they execute people. Look, Usopp comes to the thing, it's like, oh, so in order to clear them up, like, we've been diving into the ocean floor in search of the city of gold. And it's like, pulls a gun on him, it's like, don't be ridiculous. And then you find out, it's like, no, it's like, my whole entire life I've been laughed at over some shit I didn't even do. It's kind of like, V touched on it a lot, and it was a really good point. But that also, like, takes me back to, like, Game of Thrones, where it's like, when Tyrion and Jon Snow first interact, and it's like, oh, it keeps calling him a bastard, and like, Jon Snow's getting angry. It's like, oh, all right, imp. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I offended you? It's like, look, learn to wear it like armor, and they can never hurt you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I understand the context of the reference.
Oh, yeah, and, like, the way it was done in the book, it's like, as he walked back into the Great Hall, his shadow was 10 times its size. As in, like, he even though people look down on him, he stands way taller than any other man.
Right.
Because he won't let them bother him. Which I agree with. It's like, once the shit people try to bully you with, if you can make jokes about yourself, you take all the wind out of their sail and they can't do it. Like, I was like, all right, what else you got? You got anything original? No? Anyways. And the scene when he's talking about, it's like, I decided to be a pirate, and then I found the island, and I knew how to do it, and he had the interaction with the crew. It's like, was he, I'm guessing he was the captain of that crew? Because at the bottom of...
I would assume so.
Yeah, at the bottom of 12, it's like, are you serious? Look, boss, this is a family matter. It's none of our business.
Yes, he was the captain.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then it's weird that he's just free diving when he had, like... Because that diving suit is so prevalent, and anytime they show his house, it's like, why are you free diving?
Right?
It's so dangerous because like, if you overestimate how much your breath is, you're going to get bends because you don't want to drown.
Maybe it's mobility? I don't know.
What's it for diving, looking for
Maybe
gold?
It's just sheer toughness.
It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, oh, I'm just going to dive down for like a minute and a half and then have to come back up. It's like, why not put the suit on and just stay down there for like an hour? So I have a feeling you'll find a lot more stuff.
Does a suit like that not have some kind of need for someone on the other side to operate it? And at least for some time, he might not have, but he does have his monkey boys.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing. It's like if you had an actual like engine run pump, then no. And even like I don't think the old diving suits even had pumps. I think it was just a line ran down to it, and then they would just breathe it in, and when they exhaled, it would seep out underneath, and they would just breathe in the fresh air. But again, don't know much about ancient diving. Whatever. Rule of cool is kind of the deal with that one.
That's a good way to explain that one.
And then I like well, that's a good way to explain a lot of One Piece. It's like, no, it's cool. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Luffy asks, it's like, why are the monkeys here? It's like, oh, they just really like the story. It's like, all right, yeah, that's Luffy coded. I get that. And like it's like, to be honest, this fool saved me. It's like, oh yeah, it's like they saved you from a lonely existence. I get that.
Mm-hmm. Very sweet. It kind of highlights that last image from the previous chapter.
And then the severity of it's like, oh man, it's like there's only one way to get there, and they'll be killed instantly. It's like, that's why we're gonna help, so they don't die. That was a good ending to that. I like that. It's the thing, like again, like when Oda makes like a little detail mistake, the guy was like, oh, he smashed his finger, so why was his other finger swollen up? And the next panel, he's like, whatever, here's the reason why. It's like, I fucked up, whatever, moving on. Because, like, the whole balloon thing, it's like, oh, I see what you're describing, but, like, that doesn't make sense. It's a separate finger.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's all I really have in that chapter.
All right. So, again, just to kind of highlight, I'm really enjoying the monkeys. They are great, and I'm tired of pretending they are not.
A lot of fun.
Another smoker. I could have pointed this out in the last chapter, and I did in our speech, but not in my notes. This manga is perhaps a subtle advertisement for just general smoking. And, if you're not smoking, you should smoke.
Well, wait.
V, I'm talking about you.
Will I get One Piece merch if I start smoking cigarettes?
That'd be cool.
I'm just going to keep consuming my cannabis edibles. Truly do not want to be developing a nicotine addiction at 34 years old. I feel like, you know what? I'm too late. Okay. I'm too late.
She missed the train.
I did.
I just want to point out something. Have you ever seen anyone that you can remember that was like goofy looking smoking in this manga? It's always some bad motherfucker smoker.
Yeah, because we got Smoker.
Sanjay.
Yeah, and like, okay. I have something weird to say. Okay, one of my exes, for some reason, to me looked so hot when he was smoking. Like, I don't know what. I think it might be a little bit of like oral fixation, but like,
I think that's part of it.
He would smoke, and I want to jump on that dick like so bad. And I'm not a smoker. I don't enjoy the smell of cigarettes. I don't enjoy the way they taste on my mouth. Like I'm not. It's just the phys. I don't know
Mad Men
what
at the
it
time.
is. No. I that was before Mad Men. Come on, I'm old.
But
like
old.
I don't know what it was. Just about the way that just like the muscles in the face tense up when they're smoking, and just the act of bringing something to your lips. Like I truly do not have any sort of reasonable explanation for it. But that man would smoke, and I would be like, please put a baby inside me. Like, I don't know. I truly do not know what it is. I'm done.
On the topic of the Nolan backstory, Cricket's backstory about Nolan, at first I was like, nothing super worth mentioning. And then I even wrote, whittle generational trauma, perhaps. And I even wrote it with the W's.
Generational trauma, ooh.
But, I mean, hearing you guys kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you know what?
It hits.
That is some real weight. Something is real there, and it's deeper than maybe I was giving it credit for. So I liked it. The idea of the monkey guys saving Nolan, very sweet.
Yeah.
And then I did want to point out something that we kind of skipped. They're talking about, okay, it's a one-man boat called a waver, which one rides like a ski. And I was like, jet skis, perhaps? I love a jet ski. I don't know if either of you have ever been on a jet ski.
Hell yeah, I have.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Love it.
Jet skis are sick.
They're so fun.
And I thought the ending was super sweet. You know, they're ready to go to bat, and I don't know, maybe this one was a little bit more charming than the previous chapter, but it was more of the same overall. It was a little bit more exposition. I'm someone who likes something very in your face, exciting, and call that my character flaw, if you will. But it is telling important stuff. You're allowed to. But it's important. Like nails or lumber would be to creating a wooden ship. I enjoyed the new characters nonetheless. I am continuing to enjoy Cricket as a character. So that's what I had for 228. 229 is V.
229, titled Let's Eat. The intro image, I know that they are not meant to be the focus of this image, but Luffy's toesy woesies really stick out to me for some reason.
He likes them grippers.
That speaks to you.
That's a trend. Oda likes the toesy woesies. It's fine. It's just in that shot, there were so many different things to focus on, but it's like my eyes were just drawn to the toesy woesies. I do like seeing him fishing with the little birds and the big bird ready to just swoop down. It was a nice little intro image, and that kind of tells me, and I think actually throughout the rest or most of the rest of this volume, it tells me that we're kind of quote unquote done with the Hachi intro image story, and then we were going to be starting a new one later on. But in the meantime, we're getting a little bit of an interlude. Bottom panel of page 2, it's adorable to see them sitting down almost as though they're ready for story time. All Chopper needs is a blankie and a snacky. Zoro sleeping in the background, typical. Usopp is calling Luffy out for believing the information outright before it's even been told. And Cricket is like, this is hearsay. And Luffy's like, okay, I believe it. Usopp's like, dude.
Believe it or not. Okay, I believe it.
And that's so Luffy, right? So the exposition starts at page 3 and goes on for most of this chapter, actually. I won't dissect it super carefully, but I do have a few highlights that I would like to point out. The top of page 4, when there are lots of clouds, it's called cloudy, not night. With Usopp and Chopper doubling down with cloudy. And this had me both rolling my eyes and smiling all at once. Because, like, to be honest, it reminds me of certain conversations I've had with my two co-hosts and our group of friends. Where,
you hate that.
I do.
It drives you crazy.
It drives me up the fucking wall.
I hope you're able to forgive us immediately after, but I can hear the malice in your tone when we give you nonsense answers.
And, like, I know that, like, and
I can't think of a single time we've done that.
Shut your mouth, Dylan. Like 75% of the time, guys, they're being facetious and they're just trying to get me
baseless accusation, and I do not stand.
Okay, first of all, shut your mouth. But sometimes they're not being facetious, and I'm like, guys, please. But yes,
there has been at least one time I can remember where I was giving a genuine answer that was maybe not a good answer, but in my mind I was just like, that.
It's correct, isn't it?
I just got angry. Oh, that gave me such flashbacks to some of those conversations.
Plural goose is geese, why is moose not meese?
and she will say, and I quote, I should never ask anybody questions in here. Or something along those lines.
I have literally said those words.
Yeah, fool yourself 58
like,
times. Who the fuck else you got
please.
to blame, dog?
Yeah.
it's just these guys just happen to be my friends outside of this podcast. And normally, as a human being, I like to go to my friends for advice and guidance. And then they reply with some bullshit, nonsensical stuff. And I'm like, never again. And so I'm
then the next day.
So it's like, I have problems with my coworkers. How many pig farms you got around you? No, stop!
But yeah, it's just like, yeah, when there are lots of clouds, it's called cloudy, not night. Yeah, cloudy. And I'm like, shut your fucking mouth. It's so painfully relatable. Anyway, I felt that one in my soul. Anyway, I love you guys. Most of the time. Hearts. Oh, anyway. So then we're now introduced to the concept of Imperio-Cumulus, or the Emperor Cloud. And to be honest, the justification provided and the naming convention was convincing enough for me to actually go and look it up. I looked up, is there such a thing? It does not exist. I just wanted to make, and I had a feeling that it wasn't a real thing, but the way that it was presented, I was like, is this based on real meteorological phenomenon? And turns out it's not. This is not a real thing. But I was like, man, okay, they're kind of selling it. Let me look into that. As someone who is like a constant skeptic, I was like, wait, I have doubt. Let me look it up. And it is not a real meteorological phenomenon, but now we know. Top of page 5, Chopper's face when he says, Luffy, you're so smart, was adorable, but also incredibly misled because, so it's a mysterious cloud, huh? Correct. It remains unexplained to this day. Luffy, you're so smart.
Wow.
It's like the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Me when I'm dating men. So long, the minute they give me an ounce of reasonable explanation, I'm like, wow.
Side tangent here a little bit. This has stuck in my brain for so long, but back in elementary school, I remember there was this classmate named, I want to say Hannah. I want to say her name was Hannah. Hannah, if you're listening, hi. Also, sorry.
Why would you be listening to that?
And also, if you know this is you, maybe you're the problem.
Yikes.
But I just remember after every answer that would be given, she'd be like, oh, yeah. And then she would restate the answer and say, I was going to say that.
Oh, God.
Every time, and it just stuck with me. I'm like,
Shut up, Hannah.
You were not about to say that. I just remember as like a 9-year-old thinking
being
these
so angry
thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the top of page 6. Luffy and Usopp's faces when they say, we're already half dead, upon hearing that they'd be risking their lives. Hilarious. Also, like, just low-key relatable. Sometimes I feel half dead, and I just keep trucking along with the hope of getting just some little crumb of serotonin. And just the way that they're drawn, we're already half dead. 100%.
I think that's because Nami beat the shit out of
and she lashes out violently? No.
No. Right. Okay. So notwithstanding Nami low-key being a bitch this volume, I still relate to the feeling of feeling as though you're half dead. But yes, she is acting a little bit like a tyrant. Top of page 8, where he explains how the geyser basically would be produced, like just the theory, the explanation of how it would actually happen, to me really helped me in visualizing how that could actually happen. And again,
that's not super crazy.
No, exactly. And that's kind of like the suspension of disbelief that I had with the Emperor Cloud is similar to that, in that, okay, they're giving a semi-rational explanation for this phenomenon. Is it real or is it not? This to me makes sense, and I haven't looked into that specific thing, but I was like, okay. I appreciate the fact that Oda is trying to explain it in a way that would be digestible and logical for someone that isn't living in the One Piece universe. It's not just pure fantasy or fiction. It's based in some level of physics or science, or like he's making it make sense, and I appreciate that a lot.
This is how geysers work, I think.
I think so too. I haven't learned about geysers since 5th grade.
Learned about it like it was going to be a regular occurrence.
the sand thing. Remind me of the word.
Quicksand?
Quicksand,
Or
yeah.
even the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, the most fucking traveled cruise line fucking route.
I was expecting that to be so problematic. Turns out I've never once encountered quicksand in my 34 years of life. I'm not dead yet. It might still happen. But if it does happen, I'll know exactly what to do.
Never stop worrying about it, okay?
Okay. I never will.
You never
Because
have,
I
but
have
you might.
anxiety. Yeah, again, another moment where I feel like I'm warming up to Usopp. At the bottom of page 9, when he's kind of talking about, let's forget about Skypiea. Oh, too bad. After all, only a lucky guy would have any chance of making it. If I'm being frank with myself, being in that context, I would be with him on that one. Because everything is leading me to believe that there's no surviving this. There's 90% chance that we're dying. Only 10% chance that we might survive this. I'm kind of with him on this one. But I will say, Luffy has been lucky enough to survive other impossible scenarios before. He just might be that lucky again. But I feel like I'm warming up to him because it doesn't feel completely unjustified. He's not lying. He's not being deceptive. He's being honest and real and human. And I'm like, you know what? And I think this comes up later in the volume also. He's verbalizing his worries, his concerns. And as someone who is very much someone that will verbalize her worries and concerns, I'm right there with him. I want it to be known when I'm worrying about something. I'm making it everyone else's problem, not just my own.
When everyone's luggage wasn't showing up in the cruise, I'm like, it'll show up, I'll be fine.
That was y'all. That was not me. I was freaking out the first day of the cruise when my luggage was like the last one to be delivered.
But was it delivered?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I know.
And hello, we are kindred spirits.
Yes.
Well, it's like, bro, we got dropped. It's going to show. They just don't know where. It's on the boat. They just don't know where on the boat it is.
Yeah. Things take time.
Oh, you mean that luggage we threw in the incinerator? Oh, that's gone.
Hey, what it look like? Oh, shit, that's the one we dropped.
I mean, I will say there was a
Them
little
dolphins
bit of
took
worry
it.
because as we were trying to depart, there was a delay because I think they had smelled like drugs on the boat.
Someone
And
was
so there
smoking
was
a joint in the line. Me and Steven smelled it.
Yeah, I remember smelling it.
Because I think we were walking, we're like, bro, someone's smoking a joint.
Bold.
if I could be so bold.
So, getting back to the manga. So, just as a kind of a quick follow-up to what I was just saying about Usopp, page 12 to me shows us quite a bit of growth from him, because to me he's at a point where he's standing up for himself. He's standing up for the crew. He's verbalizing his doubts. And to me, that takes a lot of courage. Like, it takes a surprising amount of guts coming from someone as Usopp to be like, to confront the opinion of someone that you see as an authority and say, like, how can you take things so lightly? Like, and to be like, I disagree with you, to me takes a lot of courage that I would not have expected from Usopp earlier on. Yeah, because he's saying, you know, you're lying. The coincidence is too incredible. You're telling me that the only time we can go to this legendary island is tomorrow. You're willing to fix the ship. It's too convenient. What's your game? Like, he's verbalizing his doubt. And to me, that's like, oh, okay, Usopp. Look at you standing up for what you believe in.
That's not cowardice.
It's not
That's logic.
cowardice. It's logical, and it's very, very brave. To me, that is being brave. And I'm like,
Been one of the crew members has been
I see you.
the biggest realist.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, most of the time he's being accounted, but there have been a couple instances where it's like, no, hey, I'm kind of actually looking at the numbers. This shit don't match up.
So that was definitely a highlight for me as far as Usopp is concerned, and just he's coming across as so realist, reasonable, and like I said, just the fact that he is verbalizing his doubt and saying, I think this is wrong or this is risky. to me shows a lot of that bravery and that courage that I hadn't seen in Usopp before. So this is an interesting development, and I'm kind of eager to see in what different ways, because I feel like Usopp has kind of been built as this character that's always going to be kind of the scaredy cat, kind of do I really want to be confronting this like obvious big gigantic force that is so likely to like freaking destroy me? But he has those moments of like, I don't know, it seems very reasonable and very human to me, and I appreciate it a lot for what it is.
Well, I appreciate you calling it out, because I didn't have a single note about it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, all of page 12 to me is like a big Usopp moment of like, damn, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I get it, bro. And okay, so I will say, again, we're kind of talking about going back to Nami and our general impressions of her throughout this this chapter. At the bottom of page 15, she calls him a coward because he says, Nami, am I just a pitiful coward? And she says, yep, and an idiot too. And I'm like, I honestly did not care for that. There are plenty of times in the past where he was a coward and an idiot, but to me, this was not the case. This was not cowardice. And I wouldn't say I resent her for saying these things about him, but I'm like, that was uncalled for.
She does say, I understand how you feel, but that feels like a small, like, pittance. Is pittance the right word for what she's saying before? It
still feels like she's trying to shame him, and I don't like that at all, because I feel like this was a big moment, a fairly big moment for Usopp, where he's confronted with his fears, confronted with the fact that he is going to have to go through with that, and, you know, like I said, having expressed his doubt to me takes a lot of courage and bravery, and I just don't like her kind of dismissive attitude almost towards him, and I'm like, I don't know that I like that. And yeah, so the chapter ends then with a bit of a slice of lifey scene, a reflection on the last sentence of Nolan's journal and Bellamy's ship closing in on the island. Promising way to sort of end this chapter overall. And that's what I had for 229. Dylan?
Dylan.
God, that reminds me, I hated that shit. I don't know what fucking...
I'm sure. I can only imagine.
Oh, God, in Charlotte, one of those nights, Dylon, I spit hot fire. I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking? I watched G4. I have no clue what the fuck you're talking about.
You knew after a certain, the fifth time what they were talking about.
Well, I knew what they were talking about, but I never watched the show. Never watched the show.
That one Chappelle Show skit just changed the trajectory.
Was that a Chappelle Show skit? I thought it was from an actual...
Yes.
What was the... I want to say it was P. Diddy, but there was like one like bigger name thing where they had a thing where it's like where Trump did the "You're Fired" thing, but it was for like music. And I thought they were making fun of that.
Okay. They maybe originally. I didn't watch Making the Band. Is what you're referring to?
Yeah. That's what I thought it was from. Oh, like okay,
which was P. Diddy, I think, and won't go any further into that.
Yeah. You weren't willing to freak off, so you're fired.
Yeah. But yes, they were making fun of Making the Band.
Well, I did very much watch Chappelle Show, so...
If you missed that one, so be it. But it left a mark on society and the name Dylan for at least one generation of people.
Well, like, oh, Dylon. It's like, that's not my name. My name's Dylan. There's no O in my name.
I spit hot fire.
I don't.
Well, you spit smoke. Or vapor.
Water vapor, dude.
Yeah.
I spit fat clouds.
Yeah. Get it right, idiot.
Yeah, typical fucking plebeians. Cover shot is funny. It's like, hey, Luffy, that's not how you fish. Because, you know, the bait's supposed to go in the water, not the air. For that, you want a shotgun with bird shot.
He's bird fishing. Oh, yeah, I guess that probably makes a little bit more sense.
And then we get like V said, I do love things like, all right, this is all hearsay, just remind you this is what I know, but like it's not, there's nothing proven. It's like, I believe you. Usopp being the realist. And I love how like Zolo and all this, it's like, oh, he's still prevalent, he's just napping. He's over here having an apnea fucking event. Just every now and then you just hear him gasping for air. It's like, oh, we haven't heard Zolo talk in like 6 panels.
There we go.
Yeah, he's alive. That's his secret powers. He has sleep apnea, and it makes him so strong.
The whole time he's sleeping, he's fighting for his fucking
which
life,
makes him
builds
strong.
Character and muscle. Yeah.
Oh God, if that were only true.
Oh, Dylan, if that were true, you'd be the fucking Superman.
Yeah, I'd be Goku at this point, dog. Ain't nothing bringing me down.
What is he doing as you're sleeping? He's training.
He's getting ready to save the world. But the fact that it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be there. Everyone like immediately just like, yeah, we can finally fucking do it. Let's go. And then Nami lashes out with violence, which again, I know it's there for comedic relief, but I don't like it.
While this is, I feel like, isolated for Nami, because this has not been her that we've seen a lot. I mean, she's certainly been more concerned, more adamant about.
She's assertive, but this is the first time I'm really thinking, wow, she's being a bitch, you know?
The thing I hate about it is, like, I see that, and then I see them, like, super beaten up afterwards. It's like, it gives the vibe of, like, oh, like, I'm gonna, like, punch at you, slap at you, and then when you push me away, because I am assaulting you, you mean, like, I'm telling the cops that you hit me.
I don't know if that's what
and
this
it's
is
just
giving,
like,
but...
it's just, like, a lot of that shit happened. It's just, it's a...
No, you're not wrong.
It's a two-sided coin, but unfortunately it's looked at by society as like, oh no, it's only a single-faced coin and it's men are evil. And it's like, what? No. Like, I'm just out here living, dude. Anyways, let me kind of get the lore behind the knock-up stream, which is cool. Which, I think, the way he describes that, the whole pressure and steam thing, I'm not sure if that naturally happens. But
it's based in reality. Geyser is real. Water jet heated up by internal geothermal forces is real. This is just on an extreme scale.
For me, the way it's more like, it's like, oh, it flows in really fast, so therefore there's a shitload of pressure, and that's what turns into steam. It's like, but if it's like, it sinks into a magma pocket, hits the magma, and yeah, that would work. But I think
that's essentially it is. It says geothermal heat. It doesn't specify magma, but
okay, yeah, no, if it's a lava tube directly underneath, yeah, okay, never mind, that would work. But there are some very deadly like whirlpools. The way it is, it's like the tide comes in, and as the tide's coming in, all the water is being displaced down. So as the tide's coming in, it's super dangerous because you get sucked into it and sucked straight down and get stuck in it, which is actually something really dangerous about like rivers and river tubing. There are underwater caverns, and if there's a really heavy rain and there's a lot of flow in the river, there is a chance if you're in the water just floating by it, it could have it's sucking the water in and it could pull you in. Yeah, that ain't quicksand. That will kill you. Don't fuck with it. But I will be like, when you're talking like he's the expert and like Usopp's just like, no, fuck that. This is suspicious. We just met you. Why the fuck are you helping us? This is so dangerous. You're setting us up to be killed. I'm Usopp. Put him the fuck up. Let's go. Like, there's something wrong, and I'm going to beat it out of you. It's like,
yeah, you need you need to do more than just tell me something. Like, yeah, no, I'm 100% with Usopp on this one for sure.
But I will say, like, at the top of like the bottom of 13 is where you get that top of 13, where it's like Masira and I always forget the other guy's name. Shuju. Which is it Shuju or Shoju? Because I know Soju is like...
I wonder if they're not the same.
Sake, but it's very similar.
Yeah, so soju is...
it's a Korean sake, like isn't it?
Korean... I think it's alcohol. I'm not sure that it's rice-based as sake is. I like soju, but it feels like it's close enough.
Yeah.
But it may be different. Who knows?
But I love that. They're like, oh, you're in for a treat. This dude can cook like fuck. This shit's so good. It's the benefit of being...
I do appreciate the shout-out. At least he has that going for him. Because we are kind of on Sanji's ass lately, which totally deserved.
If you cut out the time to eat Nami and just had him be like, I told you I'm a first class cook, and like getting mad and defensive about it, I'd like that character trait more. It's like, no, you're a great cook, and anyone who doubts you get angry about it. Makes sense. But you're like, oh, Nami.
I have a sense that like everyone is going to have their like quote unquote redeeming moment, and maybe it's just not Sanji's time right now.
He has had some like. What was it, Mr. Prince?
He started off so strong. Yeah,
Mr. Prince and Rain Dinners was huge, massive moment.
And then he started off super strong with Baratier.
But it's just there's so much time in between them. You give him so much time to get fucking sick and tired of his fucking antics. Because I think originally I was a huge like Sanji fan. I was like, oh, dude, Bruce Lee.
And you know
cool
what?
shit.
I feel like I'm feeling as though like I started off not liking Usopp at all, and then this chapter is showing me how much there is to appreciate of Usopp. So I'm letting myself be swayed by the way that the story is unfolding. I'm not bound to having a certain opinion about a certain character. Except
I will say Zoro hasn't had any like what the fuck is he doing moments. To
Zoro
be quite
has been perfect, and he is a king. Okay.
He hasn't had any "what the fuck are you doing" moments, but there's been a lot of moments where he's like, "What the fuck's your deal? Are you
Right.
you
There
Wolverine?
have been a few.
Are you Wolverine? You're Wolverine.
But he's
Except
hot,
you just
so it
take
doesn't matter.
naps. And that is how you get swindled, V.
Maybe
Gotta
he
keep
has-
that guard
what's
up.
He has sleep apnea, Dylan. He lives alone.
That's sleep disorder.
Sleep apnea?
No.
Insomnia?
Where you
Oh,
just fall
narcolepsy?
asleep. Narcolepsy.
Yeah,
That's it. He has baby boy. Baby boy has narcolepsy.
I think it's just that Scrubs bit where it's like, yeah, anytime he feels aroused, he just falls asleep. And the one nurse is like, what the fuck? Like, I'm banging. Why do you not think? It's like, you remind me of your sister. It's like, I'm not your sister. He's like,
It's blood flow. I don't know. Anyway.
but yeah, he calls him out. That's great. And he more like points it out. He's like, all right, well, now he's like, this is more the way it works. It's in this territory, which we're familiar with. It's on a schedule. It lines up. It's going to work. It's not a certainty, but the odds are good. I'm glad to meet you fools. Now let's eat. You could rest here today. Comrades. And that's what immediately turns Usopp around. And I think that's from being with Luffy and the gang for as long as he has. It's like, oh, you look at me as like a shipmate. That is very, very important to us. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're willing to say that, it's like, no, you get that importance. You don't just throw that around.
Okay, you're onto something, but I'm skeptical. Yeah.
But there's still value in giving it some thought. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like in
of
having
course.
that moment of
Again,
realization.
I'm an Usopp. Like, if I'm being real.
Yeah, and then like Nami at the bottom of 15, which is like, look, like this is our one chance, we'll have to go for it, but ultimately it all depends on luck. And then Usopp be like, Nami, am I just a pitiful coward? It's weird because it's like, okay, it's like you've been kind of a lash out bitch. If you weren't doing that so much, and it was just like, you're doing the normalcy thing, it's like, yeah, you are. You're dumb too, but you know what? I get it. I'll go apologize. It's like, all right, he's giving me a little shit. But like, it's like the way you've been acting so much recently, it more feels like you're trying to...
It's all about the context. Yeah.
And like the wider context, it's like, it's getting viewed as you're kicking me while I'm down. Whereas normally it's like, no, it's just like, we're homies, you're giving me a little, you're breaking my balls a little bit.
She already took a swipe at Usopp earlier. Like
a
pretty big one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that. I guess that's something I'm developing as I'm growing more like as I'm warming up to Usopp. Is I hate how easy of a victim he is. You know, like he's easy to pick on.
Which I don't like. If it's easy, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Don't punch down. Just don't punch down.
Which is why I make fun of myself. It's like, okay, the easy thing, I took care of that. What do you have now? Oh, you don't have anything? Well, guess what? I got some ammo. But I love, like, he goes to the whole thing. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry, mister. It's like, stop, you're getting stoned on me. He's like, super sappy, but immediately cuts out of it. And, like, they're eating, they're living it up, having a great time on 16. And then, like, Usopp's like, no, you know what? You won me over. I like you guys. And starts pranking the guys. Because Mysterio's like, fuck. And it's like, gotcha, Tabasco bomb. And it's like, all right, Usopp. I do like that slice of life that you like. 16 is like huge slice of life.
Yeah.
I really. Those might be some of my favorite moments. Yeah.
Yeah. They make it so easy to want to be there with them in those moments. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like looking at it, it's like that was us. That was us on the cruise.
It was.
That was us in Charleston.
Honey, it was.
And I think it's the reason it works so well because everyone has their tight knit group of homies where it's just like we're just gonna act a fool. Hopefully, we're not a burden on the people around us, but we're gonna have a good fucking time. And then, of course, Robin, again, I'm still suspicious of her because she is separate from everyone else, not really partaking.
Yeah, she's always seeming to be like kind of on the wayside, at least for now. But she is a fairly new member. Maybe she's trying to slowly integrate herself, or maybe
it's hard to be a new person.
It is.
It is, but
sure.
I look at the way her whole relation with the Baroque works is there was an angle she had, and she was waiting for the right moment to play the angle.
I understand where your doubt comes from. I'm still giving her kind of the benefit of the doubt, but yeah, I get it.
I like how she's looking. I guess she's looking through like the logbook, and then all of a sudden, Mont Blanc like jump scares. It was like immediately in her face, like I saw the gold in the right eye.
Hands immediately.
Not even hands immediately, just like punch in the face. Ah, fuck! Don't sneak up on me! God damn it! Jesus Christ, dude! I have high blood pressure. You can't be doing that shit to me. But then he's quoting the logbook. It's like, oh, that tear-blooded sentence was the last thing he wrote. And he kind of keeps talking about it, and like everyone's like, yeah, that's why we do what we do. We're trying to find the answers. Fuck yeah, dude. And then we see the ending of this chapter is we see the Cringe Lord crew coming up, fedoras and fedoras in tow. She'll be like, I've been practicing the blade. I like to pull the wings off of butterflies. I like to strangle stray cats in my spare time. That's what that's Bellamy's vibe. That's Bellamy's fucking vibe. Hard as shit. God,
We'll get into it.
God, though. Oh, it is satisfying.
Oh,
Oh,
is it?
but
we'll get to
that
it.
is all I have. But also at the very end, illusion.
Yeah.
I know, his little creepy eyes. I love him, but also his little creepy eyes.
And how dumb he is.
Shut up. He's not dumb.
Remember what
Stop
we're referring to when it's like just the immediate vicious reaction because the stupid thing said? That's an example of it.
Michael?
All right. So I do want to say that I said this last volume about Masira seeming like a very Dylan character.
Yeah.
And Nolan, God, here I go again.
Blanc, blanc.
Cricket. Cricket is kind of giving me, like, they are kindred spirits. And the fact that he was a gun guy not last chapter, but the chapter before.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is very friendly to people who are friendly to him, but very straightforward. I'm getting, again, Dylan from this character.
Aw.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. It's one of the few character comparisons I don't hate.
He is a big softy. Yes.
I love Masira.
But fuck around, find out.
Right. Yeah, he's a fuck around, find out kind of guy. Absolutely. The whole knock upstream explanation I thought was interesting. I didn't think it was out of the realm of possibility. And then, yeah, so I didn't see it last volume, but I did like Usopp kind of gradually putting the pieces together about his place in the crew, his place in the world, perhaps, and hesitantly, perhaps even unwantingly, going along with the plan because he knows that it's not really about him. It's really about Luffy.
Yeah.
And to extrapolate on that, it's about the people who follow Luffy, himself included. You know, Zoro's going to follow him. Nami's going to follow him. I think Robin is very interested in this. I think that she wants to see what's next. It's difficult to say.
I feel like the one person's allegiance I would never doubt is Zoro's.
Yeah, easily.
The others, I could see some potential pitfalls or potential issues, as unlikely as they may be.
I get that.
But I feel like Zoro's the one that I would be like, he is going to be there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes Sanji's confidence doesn't come off as confidence. It's more cocky. A little cocksure.
Yeah, I think...
And I don't care for cocky as opposed to confident. That's a difference
I
that I
believe Sanji would
draw.
be there. For all his flaws, I think that he would stand by his man.
But I don't know that
Nami
his
said
resolve...
otherwise.
But if his man had
right,
tits,
I don't know that his
it.
resolve would be as strong as Zoro's in the face of any potential hurdles. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we actually see, by the end of this, that Nami is fully on board. When she's having that talk that we've kind of had some feelings about with Usopp, she's like, this isn't great. I get it, but this is what's next. And I think that says that she's here for it. So I think that's an interesting kind of crew dynamic. Again, we don't see much from Robin, but I truly believe that she might not be in it for Luffy, but she is in it just for the sheer curiosity.
Yeah, I think Luffy's the best way to find the answers she wants.
Right. I feel like she's certainly driven by her need for answers, her need for knowledge and whatever with regards to the poneglyph. And I feel like she does truly see that as a good means to reach those answers.
She's certainly no slouch when it comes to danger. I mean, look who she aligned herself with,
Right. She's not scared. She's got a big set of balls on her. This woman.
She does. Hell yeah.
Let's be clear.
Hell yeah. Let's give some props to Robin for just
Yes.
kind of being ready for anything.
Yeah.
So I did not love the Nami Usopp exchange. We've kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
But
it just came across as a little cruel,
Yes.
She's been coming across that way
She's
a lot recently.
Yes. And it's only because it's come up so much recently that this felt particularly egregious. Bottom of 17 when Cricket face is just in Robin's face while she's reading a book and he's like, I saw the gold in the skull's right eye.
Yeah.
Please don't. I'm a little terrified of you. I don't know you like that. And I don't want
Who
to...
are you? Yeah.
And then Bellamy shows up, is beginning to show up I wrote dun 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 because dun dun dun, you know. But yeah, overall, I thought this one was better than the last two. I liked this one more. I thought it had more to offer.
It's definitely picking up, yeah.
Yes, but I don't have a ton of praise for it. Again, the second half of this volume, which we'll get into next episode, just is, oh my god, I can't even imagine how long that episode is. I'm glad it's tomorrow and not tonight.
Yes, because it's already getting, right now in recording time, it's shortly past 1 a.m. and we've just passed the halfway mark.
Yeah. But next episode, not volume, the next 5 chapters,
good.
We were creeping up to the top of the fucking hill. Now this roller coaster about to go downhill. We're about
I
to
love
get
how we're kind of like
thrills.
we're edging. Yeah, we're edging the listeners. Is what we're
this
doing.
is all.
I'm
this
kind of here.
I'm not. I'm just out here giving my thoughts on this manga.
I am. I'm edging y'all. With your consent. With your consent, I'm edging you.
I mean, you're here listening to it, so it's for your own volition.
There you go. That's what you're signing up for.
Again,
you see the part 1 in the title of this episode. You know what you're.
Look forward to part 2.
Yeah.
Not much to say.
Part 2, the cumocalypse.
There's cum on everything.
Just shooting ropes, man.
It's like that scene in Spider-Man. He's figuring out his powers. God, when I was 13, that's what my room looked like. Got Column tights.
Dylan.
But, I mean, there's not much to say. It does leave off nicely with a cliffhanger of Bellamy showing up, but we will not get that payoff tonight, friends. Not tonight.
You're going to enjoy it, because we're going to go ham on it.
The next fucking episode starts off with that fucking payoff and then doesn't stop. But, yeah, V230.
Oh, 230, let's go. Pursue the South Bird, which is...
That's you!
It's me, I'm the bird. Well, I'm the North Bird.
Yeah, I was about to say, she
Canadian.
She ain't from down. She's saying hon hon. How y'all doing?
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, now, y'all.
Please speak to the cover image if you were not already, because I
listen. I got thoughts. Okay, my notes. As for my notes, Sanji low-key living my ideal life in that image.
I don't trust that dog behind him.
No, it's like
I don't know why.
That dog behind him is spaghetti.
Huh?
He's chilling in bed. He's in his jammies. He's surrounded by puppies and empty bottles of God knows what. This is what I want out of life. This is my ideal existence. I love it.
I get to see this shot of the kitchen behind him. I assume it's the kitchen. I'm assuming those are plates.
It looks clean, so I'm happy with that.
He's a cook.
Because I keep a clean kitchen. As someone who cooks a lot, my kitchen is pristine. Anyway, so this is the existence I would love to lead. And you know, if Sanji wasn't so much of a simp, I would consider living that life with him. Alas, he is a simp. So all that's to say, Sanji, he needs to work on his approach. I'm not saying that he's
sharp,
not.
Though. Ugh.
Sanji has plenty of really good qualities, but he needs to work on the approach because it's coming across as annoying.
It's like, I know I'd be a hoe if I was a female, because Sanji's like, oh yeah, it would work. I'm like, all right, let's go.
I mean, you say that, but also, like, would you really?
Yeah. I mean, it might be.
I think I'm on.
Yeah, it might be my perspective as a guy, where it's
I'm
like,
open for business.
It feels like it takes a lot more work. Where it's like I'm in a situation where I'm actually getting approached. It's like, I find you hot. Let's go. I'm like,
anyway, tangent aside, chapter 230. I would still love to be in that bed. I mean, he could leave. I would just want to be.
I just want the dogs and the alcohol.
I just want the dogs and the booze. If he's not going to be super creepy about it.
all right, another side tangent. What if his nickname is the Hunchcock of Notre Dame? No, I'm just kidding.
Stop it right now.
We have fun here on this podcast.
Okay, well, a hunchcock where does it bend? Okay, never mind.
I don't know if
the question is, how many bends are there?
I'm good with one bend. Anyway, okay. Refocusing.
Like a little S shape might be fun.
It's like a crazy straw, but a penis.
Oh, God.
In my opinion, that'd make it funner to suck.
I bet it would, Dylan. Hell yeah, brother. There you go.
Anyway, so
Not gay. Totally not gay.
I'm not gay, guys. I'm just thinking about.
I'm just saying, it's a lot funner to drink soda out of a crazy straw than it is a normal one.
It's a lot funner to suck cum.
Soda. Not gay. Totally not gay.
Listen, this is what happens when it's 1:30 in the morning. Anyway, let's get back to it.
So, relating this to Legend of Zelda. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. Oh, I do be like that sometimes. Okay.
So I got that long shot, girl. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, give me your big Goron sword, Daddy.
Oh, no.
That, not gonna lie, that might actually kind of do it for me. If I ever heard that, I'm like, oh, you're lying, but thank you.
But
If anything, I have the giant's knife. It's only good for 2 swings. No, I'm just kidding.
Keep that in. Oh. Okay. We have 2 chapters left, guys.
This is a Christian podcast.
No, it's not. Oh, okay. Focus. Okay, so all that to say, beginning of this chapter is kind of a follow-up to what happened in the previous chapter with the slice of life-y scene. I'm enjoying the vibes of the first few pages of the chapter. They're telling tales, enjoying each other's company, eating and drinking plentifully. You know, it's giving me FOMO. It's giving me, I want to be there. Please take me there. Robin then goes ahead starting at page 4. She gives some knowledge about ingots and prior civilization at the bottom of page 4, and that's another example to me of how useful she can be within the crew.
She nails it there.
I think. She's only just joined the crew, but this is at least twice that I can think of where she's provided some insightful knowledge that we would not have been able to get otherwise.
It doesn't feel like, oh, we're all from the North Blue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm actually knowledgeable about this because I've looked into it or researched it or whatever. And we've previously said that she and Zora are the 2 most level-headed characters in the crew, but she is so much smarter than he is. No disrespect to my hubby. I love him. That's just not his forte.
Teach her all about swords.
And that's what, yes. I guess I appreciate that extra balance that we're getting in that, yes, okay, we have 2 fairly level-headed characters, but they're certainly not the same. They bring something different to the crew. And I like having that perspective and that additional, like, depth in terms of how complete the crew is feeling. It feels more and more complete. The more as people are joining it, it feels like they can do more, and it feels just more fulsome in general the more that people join the crew, and we will see who else joins them in the future. So yeah, I guess we are going bird hunting.
How does that make you feel?
The logic makes sense here.
Yeah.
Slightly threatened, but they don't end up killing it. They capture him, but we will see. So the logic here makes sense. The Grand Line is indeed treacherous, and I like the idea of relying on an animal who is used to the environment for direction. Like, and I feel like that's a phenomenon that you can see like in nature, in that, for example, elephants do like a migration in the year, and they generationally know where they're headed. They don't have a sense of, they can't read a fucking map. They're elephants, but they know exactly where to go because previous generations have done that same trip over and over again, and they've learned. And I feel like there's something to be said about just relying on nature and instinct. And when you can't rely on these tools, in for example, in this case, you can't really rely on like the log post because it's just pointing upwards, then you have to find something else to rely upon. And I feel like in this case, having a bird that always points south is a great idea. And I just thought that was clever. That was a good way to add some depth to that part of the story, because realistically, there could have been different ways for us to get to the same point ultimately, but I like the fact that they added that extra layer of, we need something else than just a tool to go ahead and find that location. Skipping ahead a little bit, the little quip at the top of page 8 with Luffy telling Zoro he's worse than an animal, and Zoro being like, look who's fucking talking. Like, I mean, he doesn't say look who's fucking talking. He's saying you should talk. I love when they I love when they roast each other lovingly. Like, again, I think we previously just discussed the loyalty and the allegiance that Zoro has towards Luffy, and that it is, to me, the most solid and the one allegiance that would stand the test
like the
of time
Instabro
and
vibe.
Trials and tribulations. Yeah, exactly. That is the one thing that I trust in. But I like that once in a while they are able to roast each other. And again, that kind of reminds me of these fellows, where we do roast each other a lot.
Zoro screaming is you being like, I should never ask you guys questions again.
Exactly. That's me getting annoyed. And then later, literally like 10 minutes later, being guys, what should I order for dinner? And I'm like, should I order tacos or Korean? And you're like,
both.
Yes. Exactly. And I'm like, you are the least helpful.
No, we're just trying to help you live your best life.
Oh, thanks,
Because you
Dylan.
can have a taco and a bite of Korean, and then you have leftovers for tomorrow. We get to have both again.
There you go. You're just looking out for me. I appreciate that. So, bottom of page 9, I really like the scenery of the jungle.
We've been here before.
Yes, we've been
appreciating jungle
in a jungle
It's the same marsh. We've
before.
been walking in circles. Sorry. Haven't at least once.
We've been here before.
We've been walking in circles.
And to be honest, Zoro saying, let's get this bird quick and get back to drinking, and Chopper saying, I'm so full, I can't walk, was both, those two comments were like me, hashtag me. I would 100% be saying both of those things. My tummy hurts. And let's get back so we can drink. Oh, I am a lush. What can I say? So, in order to maximize their time in the forest, they decide to split up into teams. And we're starting off with Sanji, Usopp, and Nami at page 11. Not a bad team up. Seems fairly well balanced enough at first glance. I will say in this instance, Sanji is being more gentlemanly than he is simpy at the bottom of page 11, and I found that to be pretty refreshing. That's something I can vibe with, and I'm hoping that he finds that balance and keeps up with it. Like, and the fact is, I don't mind that he's a bit of a Casanova. I just don't want him to be gross about it. And this to me was a good example of it, where he's like, don't worry, I'll protect you, but he's not being like,
you're right.
Like, he's not suffocating me, you know?
Although I will say, I'm surprised Nami signed up to be on Sanji's team.
I don't know that she signed. I think it just sort of happened. Yeah, so then I will say another good moment for Usopp over pages 12 and 13. It's like, okay, and it's like I'm realizing that what he's truly afraid of are things that most people would reasonably be scared of. But he has a lot of smaller moments of courage. And again, that might just be him growing on me, or just my mind being more open to him as a character. But I'm liking Usopp this volume a lot. And also the tarantula is kind of adorable. You know, it's just chilling on Usopp's arm in the middle of page 13, and he's like, he's just a little critter. Like, okay, I'm scared of us possibly dying as we're going up this geyser, but you know, we're walking around in the jungle, there are bugs, that's fine. I'm like, okay. I like this. We then get our second pairing at page 14 in the form of Zoro and Robin, and right off the bat, I love the energy between the two of them. I'm a sucker for like tension and angst that still results in collaboration. Like, I don't like you, and I will make that clear to you, but I'm still going to work with you because it has to be done. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I don't trust you, but the captain says you're okay, so I'm going to put up with you.
Yeah, and like, I have bottom of page 14 when Zoro says, "Don't lecture me. It's their own fault for challenging me." Like, why does
they were challenging him?
Okay, well, okay, it does end up being justified. Let's just be clear. The bugs in this jungle are mean. But like, my first thought when I read that was, why does this make me even more attracted to this man? Like, Robin's right. He doesn't have to kill them, but his reaction just makes me want to fucking jump his bone.
They drew
like,
fresh blood.
Protect me from the big bad bugs. Ooh.
So actually, you killing bugs kind of does it for me.
On the flip side, I love the way that Robin handles him at page 15. She's just pointing out that he was headed in the wrong direction. She warns him that it's slippery, and it completely deflates him. Like, middle of page 15, and then his face at the bottom of the page. And I love, and that's something I will forever love about Zoro, I feel like. He doesn't clap back. He knows that she is right. And he doesn't let his ego get in the way. It's a little bit of a shock, and he's like, oh, fuck, she's right. But he's not trying to pipe up and be like, actually.
Masculinity.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, fuck, she's right. Let me adjust my behavior. And I don't know. I love Zoro.
I have almost the same thought so far. We'll see how the next matchup goes.
Let's see. The Luffy and Chopper pairing we get starting at page 16 yields exactly the results that you would expect from them. They are too busy chasing beetles, getting scared of like the bees to pay any sort of attention to the South Bird that is right fucking there. The bird is right there. I have to say a little bit, again, just Chopper as a character is so sweet. The left middle panel of page 16, when Chopper innocently asks if the beetles are as valuable as the One Piece, and Luffy actually considers it. He's like, that's a tough one. Like, he actually thinks about it.
My whole mission, or this cool ass beetle.
But these beetles are so cool, and I'm like, they're like children, and I love it, but also so not productive for like the greater good and the goal of the group in this moment.
I think we're in line on all of this.
But I kind of love it. I do love it. It's just, come on, guys. They need a chaperone is what they need. They would have needed one adult. They needed an adult.
One of Zoro or Robin. Either
one. They needed an adult. But I do just like the way that this unfolds. And yeah, so they finally notice the bird, and like the shot of it at the top, the shot of the bird at the bottom of page 18 was low-key a little bit ominous. Like, when you see whoever invades this jungle will die, and you see like just the way that the bird is heavily shaded in, and like, I don't know, to me it was drawn in a very like, oh damn, this bird is not to be fucked with. Yeah, I don't know. I really, really liked it. And then, yeah, the chapter ends with Bellamy, whatever, fuck his face, having arrived, threatening to take the treasure, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretending like I have a big dick, but I'm actually just a little puny gnat.
It'd be a shame if one punch took me down.
Oh, it would be a shame. So my notes there, that was before I had read the rest of this chapter. I say, I really don't like Bellamy as a character. I don't know if it's that he's a despicable character or that I just don't like the way the character is written and designed. And I said, I need to do some more self-reflection on that, me being the self-reflection queen. But just seeing him and reading what he says irks me. Like, I see him and I'm like, get out. I don't want to see you. I want you to suffer.
Yeah, like, that's an interesting point, because, like, he's written the sense of Joffrey, where it's like, it's a character designed for you to, like, absolutely adore hating that character. Like Draco Malfoy. It's like, it's designed for you to just hate and love hating that character.
Yeah. But that's what I had for 230.
Before we move on, and not to jump into Dylan's stream here, because this does seem to be a bit of his stream, but I have to point this out now because I have mentioned this multiple times. But let's hop to the SBS real quick.
Yeah,
because it's kind of silly. It's kind of that Oda nonsense.
Yep.
Yeah. The second question and answer. Mr. 3 has devil fruit powers. How come he's floating on water? Mm-hmm. And then Oda quickly responds, well, I don't know how quickly it is. Mail is slow. Oh, man. You're wrong. Not me. I'm paraphrasing here. It's because he's on super floating wood. And, wasn't my fault. Yeah.
This is giving, there's only room for one person on this door.
Which, no, there wasn't. Rose is a selfish bitch.
I appreciate Oda saying, you know what? I fucked up, but in a way that's saying I didn't fuck up, because everyone knows.
It's like, I fucked up, but no, fuck you. I'm not wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, I got a lot of questions about it, but then you're wrong. I had it all planned all along.
Hey, have you written one of the world's most famous mangas in all history? No? Anyway, shut the fuck up.
Tell me more. I'm sorry if I took that from you, but it had to happen sooner rather than
I'm glad
later.
you pointed out, because now I know how to talk about it.
I had read the SBS, but I
and you mentioned it before
bother with that one specifically. But
I was like, it's
because in the anime they had them floating on a piece of wood.
Yes, but sorry, V, go ahead and end your
That's,
spiel and call Dylan in.
Yeah, that's all I had really. I didn't get in the SBS for this specific chapter, but again, fuck Bellamy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it more.
It's like, oh god, I hope you get poisoned at your wedding and choked to death in a really painful and excruciating way.
It'd be crazy if someone hit you once and you were flatlined.
Stop! Spoilers, dude!
Michael.
That's not happening in this episode.
I already read it, but fuck.
The listeners are gonna have to wait until the next episode. They're gonna have to be patient. 2:30.
But again, yeah, the whole, like, so it's like, I hate chihuahuas, but if a chihuahua is approaching me with a bottle of whiskey on its head, it's like, you ain't too bad. Yo quiero whiskey.
If he brings me Taco Bell, I'm good.
No, honestly, Taco Bell money. The fact that there's an empty bottle on the bed already, it's like, no, actually bring me a quesadilla and a couple soft tacos. And some Diablo sauce, my guy.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to regret it tomorrow, but we ain't thinking about tomorrow right now. But like I mentioned, the dog in the background is very spaghetti coated.
What is spaghetti?
It's from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. There's a weird episode where it's like, it's Ham Banana from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Because there's a weird episode in there where it's like they like breed a dog somehow, and the dog for it. The guy who always dies, like the Kenny of that series, who always dies in every episode. The dog is like, tonight, you.
I'll have to watch it with you.
And the one guy, the what's his name, like breeds his own dog to defend him, and the dog is like, I want to be called Spaghetti. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. You're Spaghetti then. Like, you should defend me for this dog. It's like, hey, you got those same those same hairs on the top of the feet that I do. It's like, yeah, I do have that. That's cool, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna R-word you. It's Aqua Teen Hunger Force. The whole show, like, first couple episodes are kind of funny because it's like it's super shock value. But after a couple episodes, it's like, okay, that's all it is. It's kind of boring.
I'm a big fan. I don't know the episode you're speaking of, but I would defend Aqua Teen Hunger Force to my dying breath.
Well, that's the thing. It's all shock value. Once you realize that, and once you're like the shock value shit does not shock me. It kind of becomes one. It's one note. It is very one note.
Man, I think
Arise Chicken. Yeah, there are
genuinely funny.
There are some. It's like Squidbillies too. It's like there are some golden episodes, but like the whole vibe of the series is like, oh, it's meant to be shocking and disturbing, but I'm desensitized. It doesn't really do it anymore. But yeah, that vibe, yeah, hell yeah. But we get all the into the bell. I love the bottom panel of 3. And we're like, oh, we think we know everything. We live short lives, and then we see this major discovery, and we're like, our world's blown. Fuck yeah! It's like there's so many mysteries to discover. Like there's always a new frontier to experience. That's the vibe I got from that panel. And it's also cool with the ingots thing. It's like, oh no, that's actually legitimate. They usually weren't made out of gold. They're usually made out of like lead or iron. But the ingots were a unit of measure. It's like, okay, the understanding thing, it's like, oh, you're going to give me salt. All right, 2 ingots of salt is worth this much money. That's cool. And the Joe statue, it's like, oh my, I almost wish I could see this in color. Because the Joe Bird statue is something I put on my mantelpiece. Because that'd be fancy as fuck. I don't like Sanji's bit in the bottom of 5. It's like, bells of pure gold and a bird. I wonder if those were the symbols of the ancient Jaya. And it's like, oh, it's very insightful for you. Thank God it wasn't understood as a female, because you would have just drivel. They keep talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, it's got a weird thing. Ancient mariners, like, it's got a weird call. The ancient mariners talked about it. Actually, shit, no, you need that bird. You have to do that. And it's like, bro, like, I'm like 10 beers in. I'm like, hey, I need you to go down to the grocery store and get me some onions. It's like, brother, I can't see straight.
The grocery jungle.
Yeah, that grocery store is like 2 blocks away. What's going on? Fuck. If you told me at the start, I'm like, will start drinking after I get the bird. But I do like the instinctual thing, because like you were talking about V, where it's like, oh, the bird is super instinctual, so it always points to the south.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but there was a movie where it's like there was deforestation happening in a certain area, and like it was Canadian geese, and they raised the Canadian geese, they hatched them, and they're like, oh, they need to learn the route, so they took air gliders and then made it look like a Canadian goose, like the flock followed her.
Does it Fly Away Home?
It might be, because they took like the big air fan like hang glider thing where they could fly.
Yeah.
And they flew it. They flew it on the route so they could see.
Yeah, they train Canada geese to follow the it's an ultralight aircraft to help in the migration.
Yeah, because obviously it probably started.
Is that it?
Yeah, it probably started in Canada is probably where it started, and they probably flew to like North Carolina.
Yeah,
because North Carolina has shitloads
I remember
of
watching
Canadian
that
geese.
movie back in the day. Yeah, I think it's Fly Away Home.
I think you're right.
It's it's mid 90s if I recall.
Yeah, or like early 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Good movie, super wholesome, super cute.
I can't believe you know of that movie, because for me,
I live in
Canadian,
North Carolina, so yeah, of course I know.
Yeah, I know, but I'm Canadian.
Yeah, because the scene where it's
there's some overlap, it seems.
The scene is like, all right, we're flying over the Carolinas. It's like you got a bunch of fucking ho-dump rednecks fucking pointing their shotguns to the side, trying to take him out of the sky. It's like, oh no, stop! It's like, no, it's hunting season. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
it's like,
they do migrate to North Carolina. You're right.
There's shitloads of Canadian geese in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like they know someone that's running a bird sanctuary in North Carolina, and they arrange for the geese to get to that sanctuary in that migration. Oh my gosh, that unlocked a memory. We're decades.
Oh yeah,
yes, I think it's called Fly Away Home.
We were again, we've talked about it. We're ancient. I was 6 years old. We were children when we watched this movie. I think I watched it in school. Because they're like, birds have migratory patterns. It's like, oh, cool. How do you explain that? Here's this big-ass TV with some straps on it in a VCR. That's how we're going to explain it.
I think that's it.
Thank Christ for Bill Nye the Science Guy. Because I had a science teacher who didn't know how to teach science. And that's how he taught it. And it was fucking rad. Anyways. But another, Little Garden kind of esque scenarios of them just patrolling through the jungle trying to find the bird. Joel!
Again.
Joel!
Not again. I think it comes up later in my comments. What does that actually sound like? I would be
Joel!
I would be curious to hear what it sounds like in the anime.
What we're thinking, current manga fans is like, Joel! This is Giovanni's theme, I think.
Joel! Yeah, I don't know.
Joel! And then, again, I will agree with the bottom right of 11. It's like, don't worry, Nami. Whatever happens, I'll protect. He's not being super cringy about it. He's been like, hey, this is actually, a rough environment. I got your back. Doesn't come off super cringy there. But, again, it's like, this motherfucker's got the history. It's like, gross. Not gross, but come on, we know you. Gross. And then Usopp's like, what about me, Sanji? Because I think the best teams should have been... I think it should have been Sanji and Zolo.
Oh, they would not have gotten nothing
done. They wouldn't have. But then I think the people who would have got done, it would be Robin and Nami. And then you have Usopp, Chopper, and Luffy.
I don't know. Usopp, Chopper, and Luffy, again, feels like a group of 3 children.
And nothing would get done. They'd be chasing bugs the whole time. And it'd be hilarious.
I think so there's I understand being hilarious, but in terms of actually being productive...
Usopp, Chopper, Luffy and Chopper doesn't get more done than Usopp, Chopper, and I'm stumbling on my words here. Luffy and Chopper does not get more done than Luffy, Chopper, and Usopp.
Don't worry, it's not as bad as Vecno-teching.
Vecno-teching.
God, that was bad. I listened to that. I was like, fuck.
That was funny.
And I got immediately.
I am trying to think of the pairings. Irate. I feel like I would have put Robin with Chopper and Luffy. I think she would have been able to keep them kind of on a tight leash.
That's a good point. It's the thing. It's like Nami and Robin. I think are the most,
but kindly, because I feel like we got to keep Nami and Robin separated, because I don't know. I feel like at this point they haven't bonded the way that, for example, Vivi and Nami had bonded. And then Usopp, Sanji.
Usopp just needs someone strong. Usopp and Sanji is fine.
Usopp and Sanji isn't bad, yeah.
Just make sure Sanji isn't with women.
Yes, I think Usopp and Sanji makes a lot of sense.
And I
actually,
feel
now.
like, yeah, Usopp and Sanji does make sense. And then Zoro, I feel like, can be kind of added on to anyone
Nami
else.
and Zoro is
Yeah.
cool. I think that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, we need to put an adult with Luffy and Chopper.
Which is, I look at like Nami and Robin are the two who are like, all right, this is the job we need to do. Let's get it done. Although Nami proves to be
Zoro's also a little bit like that, but it's
very much so.
yeah.
He's a little, I don't know, like if he feels like he's slighted, he gets really. It's like, don't tell me what the fuck to do, kind of vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
But I do like in 12, like Nami's like has a spider in her back. She's like, oh my god, fuck. And then it comes to Usopp, he's like, oh no, they're tarantulas, dude. They're super cool. Like they're not gonna fuck with you if you don't make them scared. And I knew I had buddies. They were like, oh no, I have a tarantula. It's great. And I told them, I was like, hey brother, like I'm gonna hang out with you. We're gonna keep hanging out. If that motherfucker ever gets out of its enclosure and I encounter it face to face, it's going to fucking die. I'm going to throw extremely heavy objects at it until it stops moving.
Babies.
It doesn't matter. It's a spider. Nope, it's gonna die.
They're babies.
Thankfully, that was before I could own a handgun. Because it's like, brother, you're gonna like the drywall repairs are gonna be ridiculous. Because I'm gonna miss a lot.
I would rather a tarantula than like a wolf.
Wolf spiders are aggressive.
Whatever.
No, it's
I know.
fuck spiders.
That's what I mean.
That's the thing. My thing with
I don't know.
My thing with spiders is like,
Daddy
hey,
long legs. Whatever.
no, they still get the foot. I know they can't do it. It's the deadliest spider in the world, but they can't bite us. But my thing is like, I get it. You provide a valuable service. Do not let you see me in my fucking house.
That's fair. If I don't see you, you can do whatever you want.
Because if I'm going like this and I see you
it's a
skittering
debate.
across that wall, flip the chonkla's coming off, and you're getting fucking
I'm
handled.
not scared of spiders, though.
No, fuck
I'm a little scared of them.
I don't like
Are you?
bugs.
I've been bit by spiders twice. One on each elbow, actually.
I've been bitten by ants.
Is that why you have the
more than
web
I have
spider?
Spiders.
Yeah.
No, actually, but it makes sense. One of my spider bites was a brown recluse, if that means anything to y'all.
Oh, okay.
That means a lot. That's necrosis. Like, if you don't get it immediately handled, you could lose a fucking limb.
It sucked.
Yeah, I bet. Dear God.
I think part of it is just living in Canada. We get bugs, but we usually don't get bugs that are actually life-threatening.
Must be nice.
You guys get geese who are life-threatening.
We get plenty of other things. It's cold.
Anyways, bottom of 15, when Robin's like, oh, this way, watch out, it's slippery here. It's a stupid bitch. And then slips and falls. There's a coworker I work with. She's like slipping all the time and shit. And I'm just like, for fuck's sake, get non-slip fucking shoes. It's like, well, I love my Crocs. It's like, nurses wear Crocs. They make non-slip Crocs.
Grip. Yeah.
For the love of God, I get it, it's expensive.
It's not expensive.
I mean, it's $60 is $60, dog.
That's a pair of shoes these days.
Yeah, but you have a pair of shoes that ain't worn out yet. I do love Luffy's like, I got it. It's the Atlas Beetle. It's super cool. The one thing I like that when he's going over the beetles and things is like the one thing again I will relentlessly tie in Delicious in Dungeon. There's a scene in Delicious in Dungeon where they're like, oh, we have to fight ghosts. It's like, what's a holy symbol? The Atlas Beetle, the Hercules Beetle, is considered a religious symbol, so we're going to use this to fight off ghosts. It's like this beetle is seen worldwide as kind of like religiously significant.
I'm going to make another reference real quick about beetles, and this is going to tie into other references we've made
John
in the
Lennon.
past.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Zelda.
There we go.
In Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you get this guy, the salesman called Beetle, and he always gets really excited when you have a beetle to sell to him.
Which ties in to Ocarina of Time.
Oh, we're going 2
He's
layers
probably
deep.
the ancestor of the guy who buys the fish and the fucking bugs from you in...
Yeah.
Oh, we need to have a Legend of Zelda podcast. Anyways, I do love, like, the overarching thing. It's like, it's starting to seem like every time the bird shows up, it seems like the bugs are getting super aggressive. And I guess, like, the last we see on 18, where he's got, like, the bottom of 18 where he has, like, the self-assured smirk, where it's like, whoever invades this jungle will die. I think that's Chopper.
Yes. No, it absolutely is.
That everybody else is hearing is Joe. And then, I will admit, like, Masira and Soju, like, Bellamy shows up, and they're like, they don't care. Like, maybe they know about the bounties or not, but it's just like, no, you're stepping on our turf. You're coming for our homeboy. I don't give a shit. It's hands. We're gonna fuck you up. And then fucking, oh god, the cringy lines of Bellamy. It's so much more rewarding to steal someone's treasure when they suffered a lot to get it in the first place. Want to know what people call me? The hyena.
I just want to punch him right in the face.
It's like, hey,
it's a punchable face.
It's like, hey, Mom Blank, you know how you have that gun? So you give him one of these. Bang.
But a punch is so much. I don't know. I feel like a punch is so. Anyway, we'll get into it when we get to it. But like, just that skin to skin contact, like that, that feeling, that feeling of just my knuckles
dragging across my
jaw
face.
Face question mark? Yes.
But all right, tangents aside.
My turn.
Yes, sir. Actually, hold on. We're gonna do the Dylan double dip.
Dylan double dip.
Okay, the triple D. The triple D. Triple D.
Hey, if that ain't my weakness, I swear to God.
Triple D's, Dylan.
Sheesh. I don't want to suffocate, but that's the one instance where I'm okay with it. But no, like you said, it's like the whole thing. It's like, oh, he's flooded, but he has devil fruit powers. It's like, all right, whatever. It's my story. There's wood. Fuck you. I love that about his like it's such bullshit, but at the same time, it's like it's my story. Fuck you. Yeah, I love that about Oda.
I like it too.
There's been some things that I hate about it, but his whole like unabashed has been like, oh, I made a mistake. Nah, fuck you. I don't care. It's my story. And move on. Are you gonna stop reading it? Oh, I didn't think so. Anyways, but that's it.
I want to make a quick note about the cover story. The little fish in the corner seems pissed off. What the fish doing?
Let me see.
What the fish doing?
Yeah, that fish does look angry.
He's not happy. So the story time here, when Cricket is going over the explanations here, it's very homey. The meeting, the gathering was good. I liked it. The South Bird, on the whole, was very interesting. I like the idea of relying on nature to tell you the way. And then the vast majority of this chapter, the bird hunt.
It was good. I like that. It felt a little bit like comedic relief, and also just like honing in on the different characters and the crew.
Yes,
it was fun.
Sure did.
I liked that bit.
So I also like the matchups. I'm always a fan of unique matchups. Sanji and Nami and Usopp together was a good group. Sanji was kind of predictable, but I do think he was a little subdued. Nami, Ika Spider, whatever. But Usopp, and I'm going to kind of align with V, I think, was very
He showed
brave.
up.
Yeah, he was brave in a way that is unique to him. He has seen these types of animals before, and it doesn't scare him. I appreciate his love of nature here. He did say that he used to play Spider War. Kind of curious what that is, but I'll move on from it. As a personal weakness, I hate spiders, centipedes, and all manner of freaky
critters,
creepy crawlies. Yeah, I have said it before. I have been bit by spiders twice. I just don't enjoy critters like that. Robin and Zoro, I really liked this. It was some interesting dialogue. I do think that they kind of gel well together as the two skeptics, the two most level-headed of the group. This was fun. And then Luffy and Chopper. I can't imagine a more terrible pairing to get shit done.
Exactly.
Maybe
they're gonna have a good time, though.
Usopp and Chopper. Maybe Usopp and Chopper would have been a little worse, but this is the next worst, like, twosome if you're actually trying to achieve a goal.
Again, comedic relief for sure. Productivity? No.
Yeah. It was fun. I really liked Chopper asking him about the One Piece and Luffy really thinking about that.
Yeah, he's like, well.
And then, to fast forward to the end, here's this motherfucker. Speaking of Bellamy, of course. Oh, I think he has the most punchable face. I am with you guys.
Does.
But yeah, just to kind of summarize, this was good. As much as the South Bird kind of felt a little like wonky, I have to admit that it was very One Piecey, and it did make sense in the whole scheme of what they're trying to do. The search in the jungle was fun, and I think that was here to be fun. I mean, there's a world in which Cricket just goes and grabs a South Bird that he has on hand, and I wouldn't have questioned it anymore. But this did, give us a little slice of life, a little fun. Yeah, it was good. And then Bellamy showing up added a little bit of excitement that I think wouldn't have been there without him showing up. So I actually enjoyed this chapter quite a lot. I don't know that it offered a lot as far as progressing the story, except for Bellamy showing up, but I had fun with it. And that's what we're here for. 231 is V.
Okay, intro image, Chopper as a cowboy. It's exactly what I need in my life. Like he's such a little guy, and I don't know. He's so cute with his little cowboy hat and the little antlers coming out from it, and he has this determined look in his face, and I like it. I just like it a lot. Yeah, so as we start this chapter, I guess there was a reason why the bird looked so ominous and continues to do so. As Chopper points out at the bottom of page 4, the bird is giving orders to the bugs and making them attack. And to be fair, I would also be absolutely terrified if a giant praying mantis was chasing after me and cutting its way through,
like fucking
trees and nets and whatever. Like, I too would be scared. Again, I'm not someone that's like squeamish around bugs, but this would get to me for sure. At the bottom of page 6, Zoro says, "There's no end to this," and he's right. We got ladybugs, grasshoppers, slugs, fireflies, roaches, and I have to say, maybe Zoro was right to kill the centipede in the previous chapter. Maybe
Same.
He had a point. Robin being like, "Oh, well, they weren't, you didn't provoke them," or blah, 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 whatever bullshit she just said. Come on. He knows. He knew.
You think you can beat me?
And then she's like, "You didn't need to kill them." And then turns out maybe he did. Maybe he did need to kill them. So further on in the chapter, we're back with the Salvage Kings and the Bellamy Pirates, and we find out at the bottom of page 10 that Bellamy has the powers of the Boing Boing fruit. Sure enough, we see his creepy little legs turn into creepy little springs on the next page with the spring snipe. Again, mild body horror. This is giving kind of, who was this? Double Finger, when she turns into like the spiky lady, the hot lady with the spikes.
Yes.
It's giving like mild body deformation. But yes, the springy legs, unsure.
Kind of lame, not gonna lie.
It's a little lame.
It's like he builds it up to be something more than it actually is, as we find out later that, it doesn't matter how springy his legs are, ultimately. The impact of the blow at page, I think, 13. Yeah. The impact of the blow at page 13 seems significant as we see Shuju laying bloody on the ground, and the rest of the page kind of overlaps with moments of joy in the form of a quick flashback with kind of the harsh reality of what has just occurred. I thought
sad.
It was sad. It was good storytelling. It was good pacing to be like, this is my friend. Like, this is my friend. This is someone that has been supportive, that has helped me, and they're injured and they're vulnerable, and I don't know what to do about it, is what I felt from Cricket. That feeling of feeling, what's the word I'm looking for? Helpless. That's kind of the feeling that I was getting from that. I also quite enjoyed what, again, in my notes, I call him Chestnut Man, but Cricket says in the middle of page 13. No, it's 14, yeah. A spineless whelp that beats people's dreams out of them has no right to call himself a pirate. Because he's right. Like, in this universe... At least
in this universe, yes.
So in this universe, piracy is born of dreams. It's born of hopes and the desire to reach beyond what is known.
And if I may, it's born of a desire to push back against the norm.
Exactly.
I think,
and I will say
is true of piracy.
Some pirates' dreams are more dignified than others, but still, that's the driving force.
Yeah, there's some where it's like, it's malice, but there's a lot that's like, no, it's freedom.
Right. And to actively fight against that yearning for discovery and to fight against those dreams and those goals that may seem outlandish to some people, but that you still care about, is not very pirate-like of Bellamy. And I would almost call him tyrannical a little bit.
You'd
like,
be very fair in that.
It's giving fascist a little bit. Like it's you know, like who are you to say that my dreams are worth nothing?
Hot topic word, fashion.
You know what I mean? I stand by it.
You're very fair in this one.
But V, if I may, I think you're getting into some really important subject matter where two pirates can be opposed.
Polar opposites.
But again, I think the idea of a pirate in this setting is not just someone who is down on their luck, but someone who is pushing back against the status quo.
Yeah.
And while I think, yes, the Straw Hats, yes, Cricket is, and maybe in a certain sense Bellamy is, but he is doing it in a way that is not
Bellamy is very
productive.
self-serving. But
Yes.
to a point where it's not only self-serving, it's cruel. Whereas I feel like a lot of the pirates that we have seen so far are self-serving, but not necessarily cruel to an extent where, you know what I mean? Like,
again, it's a difference between the pirate in this sense and a pirate in the historical sense.
But I'm solely focusing on what has piracy meant to us within the context of this story and within the characters that we have met so far. And Bellamy to me seems like a little bit of an outlier in that way, in that he is a pirate, but there are many things of him that make like.
I think he's Arlong coded.
Yeah, he's closer to Arlong than
his thing,
a little bit,
he
but
doesn't
even
have
then,
the
I would
ambitions
say-
of Arlong, where Arlong's like, I want an empire. Where he's like, no, I just want to make people suffer and take their shit.
Exactly. It feels like there's no real goal for him other than just crush other people's dreams. And that's like awful. But yeah, and this only serves to feed my dislike for him. I do not like him at all. So I have thoughts on Bellamy, and he can choke on it, TBH. Going back to the Straw Hats in the jungle and their bird conundrum, I like seeing Chopper translate what the bird says in the middle of page 15. To me, it's giving D&D of like animal speech or whatever, like speaking to animals. It's just like he's saying, "Haha, you can't catch me." I just think I don't know. I love that Chopper is the messenger. And then so I have to say the bottom of page 15 at first had me really confused.
That threw me the fuck off. I was like, is this bird
did the bird always have arms rather than wings? What's that about? And then I remembered Robin's Fleur powers, and that panel made a lot more sense when I figured out, oh yeah, she can actually sprout limbs.
She says as long as I can see it.
That's true, but it's like I hadn't. So actually, in the order, if you're reading it in the order that it is meant to be read from right to left, the panel of the bird comes before her saying, "As long as I can see it."
Right.
I didn't misread that. But yes, she does end up explaining it, saying, as long as I can see it, I can catch him, you know? And sure enough, she does.
I loved that.
Yes. And that was a funny panel, because you can also see the fact that, like, the bird is also surprised. He's like, Joel? Like, what the fuck? With the of the arms
Nani?
sprouting on the side. Nani desu ka? But starting at page 16, the Straw Hats are back at the house, and they find out what happened to their friends and the ship, and it's all very dramatic. Top of page 17 gave me a little bit of a chuckle, seeing Zoro hold the Southbird upside down by the legs as a kind of cause, or Joe's, I don't know.
Joe's?
He's gonna handle a bird.
He Joe's. And it's just he's holding it like a chicken that he's ready to like behead. You know what I mean?
He might.
He's got 3 swords. He's ready. He's ready to behead that bird.
After it gets us there, y'all boys ready for some Southern fried chicken?
Hell yeah.
Some Southern fried Southern chicken.
The South chicken.
Fried chicken. But yeah, I just thought that was funny to see Zoro holding the bird by the legs. Zoro points out Bellamy's mark at the bottom of page 18, and so yeah, I at the moment I had to say page 19 had me very excited. Like, I, as per my notes, I was saying, I cannot wait for Luffy to bash Bellamy's stupid fucking face in. That's verbatim my notes as I was reading them, was I cannot wait for Luffy to bash Bellamy's fucking face in. I want to see him suffer and to have Luffy beat his idiotic grin off his face. And I'm so happy that I end up getting exactly what I want. But, like, just in that moment, I was satisfying. Like, please destroy him.
Again, kind of looking ahead, I love how quick it happens.
It's one. It's a 2-page spread, but it's one.
But the whole thing was like, panel. Oh, no, he's only worth this much. It's like, oh, it's new information. No, they just lied. It's like, no.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it in the chapters, but it's... Yeah. Oh,
it's good.
It's tasty. It's karma, right? And then just like Luffy's resolve at the very last panel, I'll be back by sunrise. This is captain shit. This is 100% captain shit, and I'm here for it. Dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the shading from the hat, like shading his eyes, and like the cracking of his knuckles is like, I'll be back by morning.
Like he is ready.
Have this, and he fucking
exactly.
does.
And speaking of having it, that is what I had for 231. Dylan?
Cover story, great. Red Dead Chopper, fun.
Red Dead Chopper.
All he needs is the big iron on his hip. But again, like seeing like it's like, oh, it's just bugs, and then seeing like the giant praying mantis like chop down like a 300-year-old tree with a swipe, like chi. It's like, oh my god, the net. It's like, that's the least of your problems, dude. Like, you understood it beforehand, but, like, don't focus on the net. Like, throw things at it to distract it and get away. And that ain't gonna work. And I love, like, the Southbird, or whatever the actual name for it is. It's like the smirk. It always, like
I run this jungle.
Yeah, it's like Tips Fedora. Actually, kind of vibes. Which I know is something that I relentlessly lean on for, like, One Piece. I bring that up all the time. All the Bucket Hat Discord mod of Arlong. Probably my best call out.
I think it's good. I just don't know if it's your best.
I love that you say that. It makes me very happy. They start hearing the bird, and there's several. Like Usopp's hearing the birds calling on 5. And they're like, oh my god, what is that? A rock coming this way? And like Usopp's like, no, I'm that weird guy who likes bugs. Those are dung balls from dung beetles. It's like, hey, you could just not tell me that. Actually, yeah, ladybugs is one of the few bugs that's like, if I see immediately, I won't kill.
I want to touch it.
Yeah. Well, it's not so. It's like, hey, like, climb my hand, I'll take you outside. You deal with problematic insects.
I will take care of any ladybug I see. On God, I will.
If it's convenient, I will. If it's inconvenient, I'm like, well, if you show up to where I can easily take you outside, I'll deal with it. Hopefully you don't die before then. Anyways, Sanji and them like, a slug, get some salt. It's like, alright, makes sense, Sanji. He's probably cooked snails and slugs a lot. Escargot.
Do people eat slugs?
I mean, honestly, a slug is a snail without a shell.
Is it?
Exactly.
You can put salt on.
Basically.
You can put salt on a snail. It's gonna die.
V, you like escargot, don't you?
I love escargot.
Dylan, have you ever?
I haven't, but I ate mussels. I assume it's very similar.
I would actually feel like it's more akin to the conch that you had. Like,
well, I had the conch fritter.
But if you were to have it without like
deep fat
fritters, but you know the way I've had escargot before is it's in a little like tray, and you have the escargot, and you have a bunch of garlic butter, and then cheese on top of that, and then you eat it with a little fork.
Cheese and garlic. That's something my fat ass loves. And just like the assault of bugs. It's like if I was getting assaulted by a bunch of fireflies and cockroaches, yeah, I'd be out. Nope. All right, we're out of here. And then we see Bellamy stealing the gold and everything. And then Cringe Lord Gilkirky guy was like, we're not...
Gilkirky?
That's the knife he's using.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure it's a thing. Pretty sure I'm not. It's like a weirdly shaped... I'll look it up later. We can deal with it later. Pretty damn sure it's a Gilkirky. It's like a weird, like, front-heavy machete, which makes sense, because a machete is meant to chop. So if you have all the heft of it at the tip, makes sense. But it comes in to chop him, and then Masira gets in the way, takes the hit. And the whole, we're stronger than you guys. That makes us worthy of your treasures. And Soju hits him with a sonic boom. And the thing is, like, if it weren't for Bellamy, if it weren't for the fact that Bellamy had devil fruit powers, I think Masira and Soju could actually handle his fucking crew.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Because the rest of his crew, like, his whole crew is bitch-coded. I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw it out there. It's like, oh, there's this one guy who's kind of strong. Let's hook up with him. We can't do shit. Do not like you. I hope you die, but no, I hope you die. Which, it's Oda, so it's not gonna happen. You're gonna die, and then you're like, oh, we're back again to be new bad guys.
Dylan.
Get pelled.
Yeah. That.
Sorry to take your
that
word.
needs to be brought. Yeah, it's gonna pell the shit out of it.
Freaking pelled it.
Yeah, fucking pelled the shit out of it. But the Havoc sonar, like, it seems like it's fucking with everybody except for the spring snub.
Bellamy is strong enough to shrug it off. Yeah, at least.
Well, it's like with the spring thing. It's like the spring gives him enough forward trajectory to break through the waves and land a hit. Which will admit the hit middle of 12. Yeah, you fucking cooked. Your spine is bendy now. Motherfucker diagnosed you with scoliosis that he gave you. And they're like, oh, let's go, load up the gold. It's like you got like 2 bricks. Was that
right? There's 3 pieces.
Was that fucking worth it? It's a bird statue and an ingot.
I mean, for this group, I think it actually was, which is sad to say.
Yeah, he's only worth $55 million, and I think that's the only reason he's willing to. The only reason he is worth $55 million is because he constantly preys on weaker prey, which makes him a fucking pussy. Bro, we even did it in like the chat, like where like everyone was reading. I'm always like the last one to finish reading, and the V was like, "Oh God, I'm so happy with the way it ended up," and I was like, "Yeah, Bellamy got played like the bitch he is."
Yeah, I had just said fuck Bellamy.
I was like, "No, he got played like the bitch he is," and it's like I'll stand by it. Like the Joffrey death scene. It's like, yeah, bitch. You deserved it. You're weak as shit. You thought you hard.
He is a little,
you ain't hard.
Bitch.
You're a pussy. And you died like a bitch. And you deserved it. I'm sorry. I will say, like, weird tangent, like side tangent. I hate that, and it makes me really sad. Because a lot of the actors who do play characters that are so easy to hate, stop acting.
Hey, man, I'd take that for a payday. A single payday, I would be A-okay. I'd retire.
I think initially, no.
Let's say it's a couple million. Would you?
I don't know.
Oh, I would. I would eat dog shit for $1 million. I'd eat dog shit on camera for $1 million.
The thing is, like, look at that white dog turd.
I feel like I probably would, but then I would probably, like, go into hiding for a year or 2.
So as you can afford.
So that people would forget, and then I would come back.
You gotta fucking pay me. Like Daniel Radcliffe. Like,
Again, my price is pretty low.
Yeah, me too. Like. It's like $1 million. I can make that work for a really long time.
231.
A spineless whelp that shoots up their whole, that beats the people's dream out of them. Has no right to call himself a pirate. One Piece? Yes. Age of Piracy?
Suspension of disbelief, honey.
Yeah.
A little bit, but as long as you understand the world, you don't have to suspend that much disbelief.
But yeah. But we go from Bellamy being a cringe lord, we go back in the jungle to try to get the bird. I was like, oh, the bird's up here. And then Robin was like, oh, no, I see it. It's done. It's like, well, in that case, why the fuck did you guys split up?
Fair.
Yeah.
They are so aggressively against you being in the jungle. You should have just stayed as a group. And once you see one, it's like, Robin, grab that bitch. Which I will say, like, it's been a while since we've seen Robin's powers and how versatile they are. It's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But they come back, they see everybody got their ass beat. We see the gold's gone. And I love that Mont Blanc is like, it doesn't fucking matter. Let's get this guy on. That's all that matters right now. And then
Actually,
Usopp.
Yeah, I like that
And then
too.
Usopp's like, how the fuck can you say that? You've been spending a decade trying to disprove your ancestors' bullshit. And you got the bends from it several times. Like, well, how the fuck can you say that? And I love Mont Blanc's line, the leftmost panel 18. It's like, quiet. It doesn't matter. That's our problem. That's noble as fuck. It's like, I know you're not to be burdened with our problems. We said we'd help you. That's my issue. I'll deal with it. But then, like, the bottom of that panel when, like, Zolo sees is like, hey, Luffy. Hey, that cringe lord we dealt with before, that's him. He's immediately like, that's bullshit. I'm going to handle it. And then Mont Blanc's trying to be like, what are you doing? You know what you're doing with this? Don't deal with my problems. And Zolo blocks him with his sword. It's like, shut the fuck up. Captain's speaking right now. And the motherfucker walks off. It's like, tip of the fedora. I'll be back by sunrise.
Small. It was so small, but I think it was big.
Yeah, and the fact that he's like holding up to him is like, brother. It's like, if you want to stop him, get through me. Because my boy...
No, I don't even think that was what it is. Get through him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like, where you're going. You don't want to do anything. You don't know what you're dealing with. Brother, if you want to stop him, here you go. Here's my sword. That's what it's going to take. Are you willing to take that risk? Nah. My boy about to go beat the dick off this fucking cringe lord piece of shit. This Discord mod doesn't see what's coming. And that is all I have. Mikhail.
I want to say that out of all of the, like, jungle wrap-up stuff, one thing that really got me was the ladybug attack.
In fact, this lineup is
like roaches.
It's poop!
Yeah, they thought it was. But the roaches, the fireflies, and somehow even the pigs are coming in full force. I loved the ladybugs, and seeing it looks like Sanji is fucking beating some ladybug ass. That tickled me. That was funny. And then we get a quick look at Bellamy as he is being a son of a bitch. Bellamy and his crew.
Not even a son of a bitch, just a bitch. Just a little bitch.
Just a bitch.
Just a
right,
bitch.
right. He is the bitch. If he birthed someone, they are an absolute son of a bitch.
Exactly.
Fuck this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fast forward to 13. I hate to see Shuju getting pummeled like that because I actually like Suju and I love his brother Mishira.
Yeah, I do like them a lot.
And then he goes on to have his little bit about dreams never come true, abandon your dreams, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about it a little bit, but, like, shut the fuck up. This is clearly, and I think to an extent, is a negative about the story being a little too obvious. I think there is a certain degree of value in subtlety, and this was far from subtle, but I understand the point they're making, that these are people who are pirates but for a different reason. I think that's the whole thing you're trying to get from this.
Yeah,
it was on the nose, but love seeing Robin grab the Southbird. That was fun. It was funny. It made sense to me. All of them coming together, and finally she was in a position where she wasn't distracted by something else. She was able to use her power to grab the Southbird. Made sense. Liked it. And then the ending, when they all come back and see the Suriyama Alliance pummeled.
It's so sad.
It is sad, but I think the panel on 19 on the left middle, where Zoro says, if you want to stop them, you'll have to use
That's
this.
hard as shit.
Yeah.
That's super hard as shit.
Was hard. Yeah.
Toy.
Zoro says, you know what? Kill my captain. If you can.
Which you
like,
can't.
Zoro,
it's like, you can't. Exactly. I'm going to give you your upper hand, but it's not going to work.
You can't, yeah.
Like, go for it. Give it a shot.
It's like, here you go. This is the sword you're going to die upon.
Yeah. He'll get his sword back in the end. But I think, I'm going to actually rewind a little bit, because I think Zoro lends a lot to this scene.
He does. He adds the gravity to it super hard.
He points at the Bellamy logo and is like, Luffy, that's Bellamy's mark.
Who's handling this, you or me?
And
your call.
Yeah, and he says, he exactly says, need help? Luffy says, nah, I can handle it.
Like, brother, you did crocodile. That's all you, dog.
Yes. And oh my god, this page and the page before it, like,
I feel like it's a good show of, again, like, talking about Zoro's devotion to Luffy and his complete trust in him, and trusting that Luffy knows what's best, right? It doesn't happen very often.
At the very least, you're gonna need this. I don't know what else you'll need.
It's not gonna help,
this
but
is the minimum.
It'll make you feel better.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. This is, again, I've said it before, but this is another sign of this beautiful relationship. One of my favorite. But that being said, Luffy leaving with the shade over his eyes. What a great midpoint to leave off on.
We're only halfway through, and I feel like we have so much more to say.
I know. I can't wait for next episode. But I'll go ahead and wrap this part up with my summary. And this may come as a surprise, but I thought it was another mid kind of chapter. Certainly, there were some high moments among it. But let's be honest. There's some fire There's some fire and some goddamn brimstone coming.
It's all set up.
You know what? Let's not even look forward. Let's look backwards. I think that we've seen some harder shit even previously.
I don't know. Like the conclusion we're about to get to Bellamy, to me, is
Oh, it's gnarly.
It's the Sanji interrupting the monologue with the fishman with his fucking foot. I'm still stuck between like my two favorite panels of One Piece is monologue interruption with the foot and the supersonic duck squad.
There's a lot more to come for this volume for sure. I feel like as far as the first half goes, it definitely had some highlights, but it's building upon what we are going towards, right? I have thoughts also in terms of, I'm not going into it today in terms of my overall thoughts on the volume because I do have them and I will keep them for next time. But this volume is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And this is just the introduction. This is just the beginning.
5 chapters in, you're just getting started.
Like I said, like the first 5 chapters, we've been climbing the hill. The end of the 5th chapters, we're at the peak of the hill. Now we get to experience the ride.
Yeah. So, I will say, the charm of the jungle, kind of the little miniature jungle adventure was fun.
I like that.
The little big garden.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was fun. It was a light introduction, as were all the chapters that came before. Everything contributed something. I'm not going to take anything away from any of the chapters that came before, saying that they did not contribute in some way. But next episode, we're going to pop off. We are going to talk about Ace, Buggy, Shanks, the world government.
Guys, it's a lot.
But the ending of this chapter fucked hard.
Oh, no. It's like, oh, dude.
I'll be back by sunrise?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, stop. But that will bring our discussion of part 1 of volume 25 to an end. Make no mistake, we will bring this back with part 2. And I can't wait to get into what part 2 has in store. So I want to thank our listeners for listening. V, Dylan, thank you for being a participant in this. And of course, check us out on our social medias. Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. Most importantly, Discord, if I may emphasize at this point.
Hell yeah.
So, bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Johnny, but also, most importantly, ciao bella.